comes for you. I wouldn't miss it for anything.
Whatever it takes, understand?
And with that, welcome to a fresh hour of CBS Sports HQ. This is the NBA Free Agency Special Show alongside NBA champ Avery Johnson and Brad Botkin. I'm Tommy Tran. We are taking you to the top of the hour to the free agency timeline, where after the finals, teams were able to negotiate with their own free agents. Tonight at 6, the negotiation process begins, and then July 6th, those contracts can be signed. And we have seen so many things already happening leading up to this free agency process, including one that happened today. It all started with Giannis a week ago, of course. The Heat acquiring Giannis Antetokounmpo, beating out the Celtics. Portland Trailblazers acquired Ja Morant. Timberwolves went big, switching things up, getting LaMelo Ball from Charlotte. And then earlier this afternoon, the Raptors acquire Kawhi Leonard, where the former Finals MVP returns to Toronto. More on the Claw in just a bit, but we start with the King, LeBron James, making it known today, right around lunchtime, East Coast time zone, that he does not intend to return to the LA Lakers. So, Coach, let me just ask it with you, because I know you guys talked about it with Zach Aldridge earlier today about what him opting out of LA means and what he wants to do. But my question to you is, because people believe it's a two-team race between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers, if I were to ask you the goal to win a championship next season, which team gives him the best opportunity to do that?
Well, what's been shared on social media is LeBron has instructed his agency, Rich Paul, his agent, to talk to everybody or anybody that wants to sign him. Now, I don't think that's true. I think he's talking to Cleveland, and I think he's talking to Golden State. Cleveland, I believe, would give him his best chance from roster construction, being in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, it's a lot of respect for the Knicks. I'm not disrespecting the Knicks, but I think Cleveland gives him his best chance sliding right into that spot, next to James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, bigs inside that can defend the rim. I think Golden State, as constructed, still has a ton of defensive problems. I know you got James Harden on one end, you got Steph Curry on the other side, but I think in that Western Conference, man, if Oklahoma City, Spurs, Denver come back as constructed, I believe, Brad, that he would have more teams to catapult to get to the final.
Yeah, if you take off the entertainment glasses and you say, Steph and LeBron, that's fun together. But if we look at this through a pure basketball prism, Eastern Conference is the way to go, Coach, right? Because look, the Celtics, we're going to talk about this. The Celtics might lose Jaylen Brown. The Pistons are in danger of losing Jalen Duren. They could all fall off of a cliff, and outside of the Knicks, who are being really underestimated right now. They're the fourth favorites when they should be the favorite the way they just played. But outside of them, the East becomes completely wide open. So from a basketball standpoint, I agree. Cleveland, even possibly Miami. I think that they're probably a third team in the mix. The reunion teams, right? Back to where he came from. With Bam Adebayo and Giannis Antetokounmpo in place, you put those three guys together. They need a ball handler. Right now, Davion Mitchell is their starting point guard. I think Miami, I would add them as a third team. But Golden State, I think, in the end, my opinion, the fun factor is going to win out. He played with Steph Curry in the Olympics. He played under Steve Kerr in the Olympics. And Stephen Curry and LeBron James, from a basketball standpoint, might be the most two perfectly complementary stars to ever pair up in terms of LeBron's ability to get downhill still at this age, to drive with force and collapse defenses, and Steph Curry being the best off-ball mover in history. I think you can get into your war room. Now, we know Golden State's old, right, Coach?
Right.
They would have to manage an 82-game schedule. They would have to somehow get to the playoffs healthy. But if they could, in a best-case scenario, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, if they don't make that subsequent move for Anthony Davis. And Draymond Green with Kristaps Porzingis as a stretch 5 is a formidable unit. They would just have to find a way to get to the playoffs healthy. And at the end of the day, I think it's a cool way for LeBron to go out. He's a storyline guy, the nostalgia.
The only thing I'm saying is about how LeBron James left a place. I think he left Miami because of the relationship at the time with Pat Riley differently than he left Cleveland. So I think, you know, when he left Cleveland to go to LA, I think at the end of the day he did what he was supposed to do in Cleveland. Just think about this, though, and I'll take it one step further because I think Brad is also on the right track, even if it is Miami. Drew Holiday, I don't know how long he's going to stay in Portland. And I think when LeBron, because we know he's a kind of a glorified general manager, is not just going to Cleveland, but can you take because you need a defensive type point guard like a Drew Holiday who he played with in the Olympics and had a great run with, similar to Steph. You need a guy like that. So can he bring a Drew Holiday with him? If it's going to open up to more teams rather than Golden State, Miami, and Cleveland, I don't know. Does a Boston get in play? And they convince, you know, Jaylen Brown to stay in Boston. We're going to add LeBron James to the mix. So I think, you know, depending on how serious they are about, you know, casting a wide net, we'll see what happens.
Well, it's a money thing too, Tommy, right? Because, Coach, I mean, I'm going to assume you're not a billionaire. We're not in the billionaires club, but LeBron is a reported billionaire. So if he's willing to take minimum money, he can go play anywhere he wants. Right now, Golden State is a team that can open up an attractive enough offer sheet with a $15 million mid-level exception, non-taxpayer. They'd have to move a subsequent Moses Moody to get that done. But if it's a money thing, Golden State wins out here. The funny report going out right now is this is a happiness-led decision. So none of us know what makes LeBron happy.
Right.
Let's presume that it's the team that has the best chance to win. And again, I'm going to go back to this. The ability to play with the best player of your era and the second best player of the era. Putting these two guys together, the magic of that, I don't think this would be a ring-chasing situation as if he had gone to play with Curry in their primes. The fact that they're both on the back end of their career, they're going to try to create this Avengers-type expendable situation where all the superheroes get together and they got to take B12 shots just to stay on the court and try to stay healthy. This would be a different storyline, I think one that LeBron would embrace. I still am very much leaning Golden State.
You guys bring up all interesting points, and we're actually going to talk about Drew Holiday and the Portland situation where they've got so many guards and ball handlers they don't know what to do with. More on that in just a second later in the show. You guys brought up the potential for a vet minimum, which is right around $4 million. You bring up things that Golden State has to do and other teams potentially would have to do to make $15 million happen. Draymond Green just turned down $28 million to try to do the math and make it work. Coach, let me ask you first, though. LeBron's a guy that's made north of $550 million. And again, we've established we don't talk about other people's money and intentions. But if the goal is to go where you want, the vet minimum's the best and easiest way to go about it, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think this is less about the money than the fit, because this is still a part of his legacy. If LeBron James can position himself to get one more ring, who gives him that best chance? Coaching staff. And I would agree with Brad with this. In 2010, you know, when I took over the Nets job and we were trying to get in play to recruit LeBron, at the time we didn't know he was going to Miami. And we talked to LeBron, we talked to Chris Bosh, we talked to Dwayne Wade. This has a similar feel, just at an older age, where, you know, if he wants to play with a dream team of guys like a Draymond Green, a Jimmy Butler, a Steph Curry, then he is going to Golden State. But even if he goes to Golden State, I think it has less to do with money or a contract than it is to fit.
Yeah, it's a good point because, you know, LeBron is a guy that is, for better or worse, he's been killed in the media for it. But, you know, I'm happy you bring that up because he's always been a guy that has wanted to play with other great players, like the greatest players. Okay, he wanted to go play with Kyrie Irving. He wanted to go play with Dwayne Wade. He wanted Anthony Davis brought in, and they traded the whole farm to bring him to L.A. They get a championship out of that. So I think LeBron, at the end, it's going to be part of his legacy for him sort of like hitching on to championship trains. That's going to be part of the talk. I don't necessarily agree with that. But I think going to team up with Curry, this is something that appeals to LeBron. And again, I'm just going to go back to, it's the time in their career that it's happening. If you were doing this at the height of Steph's power and at the height of the Warriors dynasty, he would get killed from a PR standpoint. That's not the case here. They would be a total underdog. This is a risky move for Golden State, and I think the challenge of that appeals to LeBron as well.
LeBron James has a school in his hometown. He means the world to Ohio, not just Cleveland. If you want to be a hero and go back home one more time, third time's a charm, one more time and do something special, try to on the court and then retire and have that statue built outside of the arena in Cleveland, this is the time to do it.
All right. LeBron James has shown in his career back with the Heat, along with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, to take a little bit of a pay cut to help Udonis Haslem get his deal. So the King has shown that before, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with LeBron James, who will be entering his 24th season in the NBA. All right, let's move on to the big news that happened early this afternoon with a two-time Finals MVP and Kawhi Leonard. He is headed back to Toronto here, and the details are this. Reportedly, the Raptors send Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, 1 pick swap, and 2 second-rounders for Kawhi Leonard to go back. There are the trade details there, Coach. Who knows what years they are? Does it even matter right now? But just give me your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard heading back up to We the North.
What a disastrous tenure that Kawhi had.
Clippers tenure, not great.
Didn't go as hoped.
No, just, the Paul George. I mean, he could have just stayed after winning the championship. He could have just stayed in Toronto, right? And maybe had an opportunity to win multiple championships. There is a possibility. You trade Paul George, and then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then Paul George leaves without any compensation. So now the past is the past. The Clippers, again, they're not even a play-in team right now. They're playing in the $3-4 billion stadium with the richest owner in basketball. So you try to get the best draft picks to hit a total reset. We'll see how long Ty Lue hangs around for this reconstruction or rebuild. But it's a good move for Toronto. You bring Kawhi in, they're trying to do something similar to when Masai Ujiri was the president. Obviously, Nick Nurse was the coach. You bring him in, he's got some young guys. DJ Barrett is in the backcourt. He's got some young pieces there that he can work with. He's going to be the elder statesman. Can he play and stay healthy like he did last year?
That's it.
Over the next 2 years,
that's it.
That's going to be the real key.
Two things I like about this. The reported going to be a 2-year deal. Signing up for a 4-year deal or something, anything close to a max deal for Kawhi Leonard would be suicide. So the Clippers got out just in time here. They're sitting on a bust hand, and somebody came up to him and said, we'll let you take your chips back. And they took him back. He was never going to have more value than this. Last year, he played more games, had a healthier season, and a more productive regular season than maybe at any point in his career. And that's really saying something for a guy who at times has been a top 3 player in the league, maybe higher than that. So this was his highest trade value. They had to get off of him. If they would have extended him after giving up on this era by letting Paul George walk for nothing, to Coach's point, they trade Zubac, they trade Harden to bring in a 26-year-old Darius Garland to obviously start a youth movement. Kawhi Leonard has nothing to do with that youth movement. So good move for the Clippers to get off that. They get compensation back for the Raptors. Bottom line, Coach, they need an offensive go-to player.
Yes.
They're a defensive team. They run like hell. They get in the open court, but they don't have a guy that can single-handedly go get half-court buckets. And we saw in this year's playoffs, and we see every year in the postseason, the value of that. Jalen Brunson just won the Knicks a championship because at the end of the day, in the fourth quarter, in these last crunch time possessions, when the defense is set and there's no gimmicks to run, I can just go get to my spot and get a bucket. Scotty Barnes was the best player on the Raptors last year, but he's not a guy that can do that. So they got a lot of versatility defensively. They got a lot of versatility offensively. They can crash the glass. They can play athletically, but they don't have that go-to scorer. And in an Eastern Conference that people think is open now, again, maybe the Celtics are going to fall off. Maybe the Pistons are going to fall off. The Raptors are taking their shot, and I love that it's not on any more than a 2-year deal because Kawhi's staying healthy. We're going to cross our fingers for even 1 year of healthy Kawhi Leonard, not 3 or 4.
And I think they're going to remain active. Even if they start the season where they are now,
The Raptors, you're talking about.
The Raptors, watch them at the trade deadline to try to maybe bring in one more piece to cement their opportunity, you know, and who knows, maybe they'll sacrifice a guy like R.J. Barrett, but this is a nice setup for Kawhi Leonard.
Coach, I look at Toronto and Miami sort of in a similar place. They both now have made big acquisitions with Giannis and Kawhi, but they both still feel like another piece short. So I think whether it's over the course of the remainder of this summer or in this free agency period, or to Coach's point at the trade deadline, both of those teams that made superstar acquisitions still need help in various ways.
It's funny you bring up the 2-year deal. Maybe it's even a 1. We joked upstairs, probably 82 games in total, the 2 years with Kawhi Leonard. Guys, let's bring up that projected starting 5 once again. I want to ask Coach, because again, we're talking about the potential fit for Kawhi Leonard back there with an R.J. Barrett. Jakob Poeltl, the big men there at 5. Coach, just give me a sense, at least as of today, the starting 5 there in Toronto.
I'm good, and I also like Jamal Shead, who played at Houston.
Yeah.
Houston would have had a chance to go to the Final Four that year had he not gotten hurt. I think it was a Sweet 16 in Dallas. But I like this move, and I like it for Scotty Barnes because it gives him more space to operate.
Correct.
Then it takes pressure off Kawhi Leonard because he's another big that can handle the basketball. But both Scotty Barnes and Kawhi Leonard, they're going to get R.J. Barrett, not D.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett quickly some more open shots. But again, I think Kawhi Leonard's got to play in 65, 70 games, guys, for this to be a success. That's going to be a big key.
That's it. I mean, and to me, Barnes is the biggest beneficiary of this move. He's overtasked as a number 1 option offensively. He has to thrive more circumstantially when the floor is spaced, when it's chaos, when you're getting all kinds of weird matchups in transition. But when it settles down and it's man on man, Scotty Barnes, not yet. He's made a lot of strides in his game offensively, but not yet is he a guy that you can count on for a bucket. And this takes that burden off of him in a similar way that for a long time, Karl Anthony Towns was overtasked as a go-to guy. He comes and he turns into an incredible number 2. Scotty Barnes, to me, Coach, going back to your days, he feels to me like a Scottie Pippen, like a versatile, two-way, long, athletic defender that plays in transition but isn't going to be the leader of your offense, needs that Michael Jordan next to him. Kawhi Leonard fits that mold.
All right, guys, great conversation. We need a break here.
And I'm still disappointed with Scotty Barnes. I recruited him when he was in high school, and he didn't sign. I might still be coaching, but I'm glad I'm here at CBS Sports HQ.
We are glad that you are here with us in studio to break this down. And look at this, shortest odds to win the East. The Raptors have now crept in there at 8-1, only behind the Pistons, Knicks, and Celtics.
The Knicks, unbelievable. The Knicks are getting disrespected.
And we've got some breaking news out of tennis. Serena Williams' return to Wimbledon has ended in the first round. She lost to Maya Joint in a 3-set thriller at the All England Club in a match that lasted nearly 2.5 hours. This was the 23-time Grand Slam champion's first competitive singles match since 2022. Despite the loss, this won't be the end for her at Wimbledon. She's set to play in the doubles draw with her sister Venus for the first time since 2016. Their first round match set for Thursday in London. We'll hit a break here on HQ and our free agency special. When we come back, Jaws and PDX, LaMelo and Ant-Man, and Giannis in South Beach.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's a gangster now?
Family does not leave family behind.
Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer.
1, 2, hit me outside.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know, or it gets more complicated.
Family, that's the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places.
Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation is about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to our free agency special on HQ. So the Celtics did not get the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes right before the draft last week. Jaylen Brown was dangled out there as a potential trade partner, continues to be in the trade conversations. Celtics president Brad Stevens told reporters recently, quote, that Brown remains a big part of us, but also added never tries to predict the future. Back here with Coach Avery Johnson and Brad Botkin here. Coach, you and I were chatting about this very topic on Saturday. It's interesting, the question that always gets handed out, and as you know as a former coach and player in this league, it's like all this stuff that happens with Jaylen Brown and whether he gets dealt or not. And if he ends up back in Boston, can you go back to a franchise in a locker room that has done this to you out there in the media and trade rumor space?
It's going to be difficult, but you can go back. I mean, Jaylen Brown, what is he going to make, 50 million? He's got
fixing a lot of problems.
Yeah, he got 50 million reasons to go back, and everybody will kiss and make up. But at the end of the day, you know, some of it's been caused by some of the comments that he's made
himself
subtly, and on his podcast. And teams don't really want distractions. They want players that are all in. They want people that are going to be unselfish. And unselfishness doesn't just show up on a weak side defensive rotation or an assist. It shows up on your communication, especially when you're in the media and off the court, what you say about management, what you say about ownership, what you say about your coaches and your teammates. So that's part of the main issue here. Brad Stevens, and I've seen people on so many other different social media platforms blaming Brad Stevens and saying it's his fault. He's doing his job. He's got to figure out the best team to put on the court and how they can be successful in the short term, in the long term, even if that is trading Jaylen Brown. They did the right thing to get in the Giannis sweepstakes. They obviously felt they weren't good enough with Jaylen Brown and Tatum at the time, but they can be good enough with the right auxiliary pieces around him because we've seen it before. But yes, can he go back to Boston if he doesn't get traded? I say absolutely. Can he and Jason Tatum function together? An astounding yes.
Yeah. You want to say from the outside, like, get over it. It's the NBA, so you were dangled in a trade rumor for one of the greatest players of all time. Like, boo-hoo, move on. But Jaylen Brown has been leaving these breadcrumbs for years now, Coach, that he wants to be regarded as an elite player, not an elite sidekick, not even an all-star player. He wants to be thought of, and he's gone on basically a personal campaign tour. He's been out there stumping for himself that I'm the best two-way player in the world. And to me, he has said this so many times. If you ask a lot of players that question, they'll answer it once. They all have this confidence. It's part of why they're the athletes that they are. But to go over and over, to go out of your way to proclaim yourself as this, when most people would say you're not even the best player on your team, you are creating dissension. If Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry were on the same team for 3 years, and each one of them was out there saying, I'm the best player in the world, I'm the best player in the world, you are, by extension, saying you're the best player on your team. And I just don't understand his need to be seen that way, but he obviously cares about that. He obviously thinks he complains that the fouls, the refs don't give him star treatment with his foul calls. He complains that he's not regarded that way in the media, and then he sees his own team that every time a, quote, real star becomes available, he's the first name to go into the trade machine. So yeah, in theory, we can sit up here and say, get over it, you're a professional athlete, you're not the first guy to be dangled in trade rumors for an all-time great player. Go back, bite your lip, and be a pro. But on a personal standpoint, I think the guy's feelings are hurt. I think he wants to go prove himself as a 1A player, as he got the opportunity to do this year when Tatum was out for the bulk of the season. I think the toothpaste, as they say, is out of the tube. I don't think you can get it back in. I think that the Celtics are going to be off of Jaylen Brown.
Coach, let me give you a final word from this perspective. We just got done talking about two franchise cornerstones and difference makers in LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard. If Jaylen Brown moves to a different team and there's no other superstar, is he regarded as a game changer, as a level A superstar in your opinion?
Jaylen Brown cannot lead a team to an NBA Finals as a 1A player.
And this is what Jaylen hears. This is what he hears.
He's a terrific player. He's got to have Jason Tatum. Okay, if you put Jaylen Brown on the New York Knicks team and you remove Jalen Brunson, they're not a finals team. I'm telling you. So this guy, I respect tremendously his game, but you can't, Jaylen Brown can't go to the New Orleans Pelicans and all of a sudden they're an elite team.
Coach is absolutely right, and I'm also right that Jaylen doesn't like Coach saying that. And the only way that he thinks he's going to be able to overcome that narrative is to go do it on his own. And I don't think there's anyone in the league that regards him as that type of player. It is a very, very small handful of guys that single-handedly can be the guy that takes a team to a championship. He's not one of them.
He had a bit of an audition this past season with Jason Tatum hurt, basically playing 80% of the Celtics games without Tatum.
And they had a great year.
6th in the MVP for Jaylen Brown.
I would have had him 5th in the MVP.
Yeah, great player.
Top 5.
Great player.
Guys, I've been watching him since he's been playing on the AAU circuit.
The problem with the Celtics though is they looked at this team and the Knicks, and it's easy to say, yeah, Brown and Tatum have proven that they can win together, but they won with Porzingis, Horford, and Drew Holiday. They have lost a lot of their depth, and they have lost their stretch shooting at the center position. Those were huge components. Was amazing. That's correct. So, I mean, Derek White is still there, but to lose those two centers and Drew Holiday, it's not the same team. So you can't just say, well, Brown and Tatum have proved it. They proved it with a much different supporting cast.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. So we'll see what happens with Boston and the situation with Jaylen Brown. Let's move to a few deals that have already been made. One headline by John Morant going from Memphis to Portland. So he goes to the Pacific Northwest. And Brad, I'll give you first word because it was interesting what both teams did. Memphis just kept adding bigs on their side. And then they have no small guards. And then Portland has all these guards. If you go Drew Holiday, as we talked about in the last block, Scoot Henderson, Damian Lillard when he's healthy again, and then John Morant. What's the Blazers' plan in your eyes, given the new ownership and the recent development?
Okay, so they got John Morant off the clearance rack, bottom line. So we're going to talk about the risk in his game. Does he fit with Lillard? They kind of got him for free. They've been trying to get off Jeremy Grant's contract for a long time. So they get a guy, take a shot here that maybe he can rediscover some of his bursts. He's not the same guy going to the rim, doesn't create the same kind of downhill pressure, not quite the same kind of athlete, and we know his shooting limitations, and he's a defensive liability. So he's not a perfect player, and there's a reason why there wasn't much of a trade market for him. But Portland, I'm going to go back to my blackjack analogy that I used in the opening segment. All of these teams, as they look up at the Thunder and the Spurs in the Western Conference, those guys are sitting on aces. They're the dealers. They're sitting on an ace. They have the percentage in their favor. And you're sitting on a 13 or a 14, coach. You got to hit. You got to take a risk. The percentage is not in your favor, but if you just stand pat on your 13, 14, or 15, you're going up against aces, and you're going to lose that hand. These teams have to take risks to try to keep up with these teams that are on the ascension still. The Spurs have their 3 best players on a rookie contract, so this is not going to stop anytime soon. This is the reason why the Timberwolves went out and traded for LaMelo Ball. Everybody has problems with that. Maybe he doesn't play defense. Maybe he's too much of a showboat. Is he tough enough for the playoffs? Of course, if you got a perfect player, you'd have to pay a perfect price, but you've got to take risks. And so Portland went out. They've got a good team on the ascent, but they've got to keep taking steps, so they're going to fall back in a murderous Western Conference. So Ja Morant is a risk, but he has reward to him. Now to the part of the point guard glut. Yeah, you got a lot of guys competing for minutes. Now, you've been a coach. How do you spread out Ja Morant and Damian Lillard starting, and behind him, Scoot Henderson, who's finally starting to emerge. Shaedon Sharpe just signed a $90 million contract. And oh, by the way, Drew Holiday. This is 5 guys who want minutes. Henderson's going into his free agency summer next year. He wants to build his value. He doesn't want to do that on 11 minutes a game. So I think Portland's not done here. I wouldn't rule him out in a Jaylen Brown trade. There are things that make sense. Sending Drew Holiday back to Boston, maybe a Scoot package. They have a lot of picks from the Lillard move with Milwaukee. They've got the capital to keep going here. So either it could be big with Jaylen or something a little more ancillary. But those guards with Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson, I think, now become very available.
And with this team, there can be an argument with Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson with a young team that's rebuilding could be your starting backcourt. If you didn't have a Ja Morant and a Damian Lillard. So maybe they're stagnating some of these young players because they're going to start supposedly Ja Morant and Damian Lillard, which does nothing for your defense. You got one guy barely can shoot. You got one guy that's got range, but they're not slowing anybody down on a defensive end.
A lot of pressure on Klingon on the backside to clean up all their penetration.
Yeah, and maybe they'll hide them in some zone. But at the end of the day, this is poor roster construction in terms of how many point guards. I don't think Drew Holiday opens up on their roster for opening night.
That's the piece that goes.
He moves on because, again, if I'm one of these guys that's looking to move around, if I'm LeBron James, I got Drew Holiday on speed dial. I need him on the team wherever I go.
It's a good point because all these moves that happen, there's another domino that comes after them. And so just like we saw Draymond Green go out and turn down his player option, that's so that they can make money for LeBron. And something like this, Ja goes here, that's going to open up Drew to go here. And so once these dominoes start falling, that's when the free agency window is really clicking.
You guys still think Drew's a good player in the league?
Oh, yeah.
What would be a good fit?
Portland last year, when they started out the season, when he was really going, he was their go-to guy. Like, Drew Holiday is still can be a focal point in terms of his ability to do everything, not the main scorer. But the role that he played in Boston, he was doing largely the same thing for Portland, to be that defensive guy at the point of attack. He connects everything.
And not to win a championship, but boy, how would Drew Holiday look in a Pelicans uniform? They need experienced guards. They need shooting around Zion. So if he were to go to New York, they got a young point guard that they're bringing along. So not to win a championship, not even maybe make it to the second round, but just
checking all the boxes,
trying to help Joe Dumars with this new team that he's trying to.
That's just one example because. Coach, Drew Holiday, there's like a handful of guys in the league, right, that just fit anywhere.
That's right.
You can make a case, and we could also go to the other side of the spectrum. He could help like a young team like the Pelicans just be a mentor, and I think that's largely what they brought him to Portland for, to mentor Shaedon Sharpe and to mentor Scoot Henderson, and then they got a little bit ahead of their timeline and figured out we're pretty good here. Advia popped, and then they said, hey, maybe we can go make some bigger moves. But listen, Drew Holiday showed up in Milwaukee, they won a championship. Drew Holiday showed up in Boston, they won a championship. This guy's somewhat of a mercenary. Like, these teams that are going to get over the top, you could do a lot worse than Drew Holiday.
And when he left the Pelicans, and when he left Milwaukee,
they all
got left Boston,
they got worse. They get worse.
They certainly did. Just to put a button up on this, because we do have to hit a break. It was interesting, the two play-in teams from last year, Charlotte and Portland, the frisky teams, all being active ahead, not sitting pat and sitting on their laurels for potentially a new season. Guys, great stuff. We got to hit a break here on the show, but when we come back, we're going to bring our guy Sam Quinn in. He is our cap expert. We're going to talk about some of the big deals. What does it mean with that latest CBA back in 2023 that's played a factor in it?
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Nobody's seen that coming.
Who's a gangster now? Family does not leave family behind.
You are a stone cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me. This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know, or it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places.
Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars. What a difference she has made.
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to the show. So before the draft and tonight's free agency period, we already had some big moves. Of course, Anthony Davis to D.C., Giannis Antetokounmpo ending up in South Beach. Both guys looking for big-time deals in the near future. Hey, let's bring in our guy, Sam Quinn. He's our cap expert, one of our analysts here at CBS Sports. And Sam, let me just first start with today as a whole. And I don't know, because you've been covering this more intently and longer than I have, but I feel like maybe the last handful of years, this particular day feels a little different than what maybe we're used to growing up. Does that have any correlation to the latest CBA, or am I just thinking things differently here?
So let's go back a few CBAs, go all the way back to 2011. The contract extension rules were very, very different, and that changed the entire landscape. You used to only be able to extend for a 7.5% raise. That rose to 20 in the 2017 CBA and then up to 40 in the last CBA. So there's kind of a domino effect that has followed that. As it has become easier to sign contract extensions, more teams are signing contract extensions. As players are going off of the market, there's less cap space available. And because there's less cap space available, players are more afraid of becoming free agents, so they're extending more. And this kind of becomes this vicious cycle where over the last several years, most of the best players have determined, I want no part of free agency whatsoever because there's no money available for me. So now you have players who in the past might have become free agents, might have become the dominant storylines of June and July, signing years in advance or even the day before free agency, as we're seeing. There are only a handful of teams in the NBA this summer that are projected to have cap space, and some of those teams seem to have put the fear of God in some of these other teams, where like Washington trades for Trae Young at the deadline. The Hawks just cap dumped him. They just wanted to get off of the contract. The Wizards have to give him a 4-year max because they're afraid one of these very, very few cap space teams out there are so desperate for talent with so little talent out there that they're going to throw a max at him in response. So this has been a long simmering issue over the last several CBAs. I wonder if the next CBA coming up in 2029 is going to do something to loosen up free agency, because it's July 1st and we're used to several free agents being available. I'm thinking about the Derby in 2010 when LeBron was available and Dwayne Wade was available and Chris Bosh was available. 2019 when Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard and Kyrie Irving and all those guys were available. I think that's good for the NBA when you go into July 1st with a sense of panic. LeBron is available this year, but he's not LeBron anymore. He's 41. There aren't any true superstar level players, at least still at a superstar level at this point in their career, technically available. I would hope the NBA one day finds a way to fix that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're adding some context to what I'm feeling. I think a lot of NBA fans have been feeling around this time every year. And a lot of it now, NBA fans have to be really acclimated to new verbiage, right? Like hard cap and exemptions and aprons. So just remind us and some of our viewers out there of what we're sort of entering in this offseason here.
Yeah, you know, this is so needlessly complicated, and as a fan of basketball, it drives me crazy. But as somebody who's paid to understand this, I love it. Make it as Byzantine as possible. So the apron situation is going to vary very much from team to team. What I will generally say about these aprons, number one, you only trigger a hard cap by doing certain things, right? If you're going to have a first apron hard cap, it's going to be because you made a certain kind of trade, you signed a certain kind of free agent. Teams can avoid these aprons if they are diligent about it, if they try to do so. These aprons make it hard to add talent externally, but by and large, they don't make it impossible to retain your own players. But the apron situation is different, and every team approaches them differently. The Knicks, for example, seem to have taken the stance that there is no circumstance in which they're willing to go into the second apron. That's a defendable position. I don't know if I agree with it when they already have a championship team, but it is a defendable position because it deprives you of so much flexibility. If you're in the second apron, you can't aggregate salaries and trades. You can't use the taxpayer mid-level. You can't sign the best buyout players. You can't take in more salary in a trade than you send out. There are all of these restrictions that come with that. Every team is going to approach them differently. There are teams that go into the second apron once and they say, we're going to do this for 1 year. We're going to back out. If you stay in it for 3 years out of a 5-year span, that's when the worst effects kick in. That's when one of your future first-round picks automatically drops to number 30. Every team is different. Every circumstance is different. Every team is thinking about these aprons in very different ways.
All right, so we've gone macro. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot and go micro a little bit here. Let's talk about the former champs with Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, and we've just been talking about Jaylen Brown. What type of price tag, scenario, options regarding that particular bubble?
Well, I'm glad we're talking about the aprons because they are going to be very pertinent here. If the Nuggets are going to trade for Jaylen Brown, you would presume that Jamal Murray would be the main asset going to the Celtics. The Nuggets cannot make that trade 1-for-1 because Jaylen Brown makes more money than Jamal Murray. That triggers a hard cap at the first apron. The Nuggets are already well over the first apron. They can't do that. So what the Nuggets are going to have to do is trade extra salary on top of Jamal Murray to make that feasible. By aggregating salary, you trigger a hard cap at the second apron. This is complicated for the Nuggets for a different reason, because Peyton Watson is a restricted free agent and is expected to get a whole lot of interest out on the market. Maybe it's the Lakers, maybe it's the Clippers, maybe it's the Nets. There will be a lot of teams interested in a young, athletic two-way wing like that. The Nuggets have to be very, very careful about triggering a second apron hard cap, because the moment they've done so, they will be telling the entire rest of the NBA, this is the number that you have to top in order to steal Peyton Watson. You can therefore make an offer that we legally cannot match. So I would presume if the Nuggets are going down this path, they will settle Peyton Watson before they make any trade. They'll know exactly where they stand financially. And I would guess the mechanism that makes that trade possible would be Jamal Murray for Jaylen Brown straight up, and then Cam Johnson going to Boston as well into that $27 million trade exception that the Celtics got for trading Anthony Simons at the deadline. That would save Denver around $16 million. You talk about waiving Jonas Valanciunas, who's non-guaranteed after that. Maybe then you could squeeze a new Peyton Watson contract in there, fill out your roster, move from there. There would be questions. You'd have no guards on the team, for instance. Maybe you could flip Aaron Gordon afterward to get a replacement for Jamal Murray, but that is the basic mechanism in which it would happen. A lot of small needles to thread there. It is very, very complicated.
And I am glad you are much more well-versed at this than I am. We didn't even get into like biannual things and scenarios that we have in the NBA. Sam, before I let you go here, is there anything tonight specifically you're looking forward to? And if not, is there anything you're looking forward to up to July 6th?
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching this Jaylen Brown situation closely. It seemed like Portland was going to be the team before they got Ja Morant. They could still do it if they want to. They still have Drew Holiday's contract. They have their draft picks. They didn't have to give up any in order to get Ja Morant. They still do have their young guards, who, by the way, are now being crowded out with Ja Morant and Damian Lillard playing the 2 starting guard slots. I think they do have the capacity to make that trade if they want to, but for now, it doesn't look like they're going to. And if that's the case, I don't know what Boston's going to do with Jaylen Brown. I was watching your last segment. Brad Botkin put it very, very well. Toothpaste out of the tube. Jaylen Brown's feelings seem to be hurt here. I don't know if that's a solvable situation, but it might have to be, because I don't know who the team is for Jaylen Brown otherwise. Keeping an eye on LeBron, of course. This maybe happens tonight. I think it's more likely that this drags out into the summer. Remember, when LeBron went to Miami, it was on July 8th. When LeBron went back to Cleveland, it was on July 11th. He tends to take his time, so that might even extend beyond July 6th. So those are the 2 biggest names. There are a number of smaller ones that we could get into. The Lakers probably going to throw an offer sheet at one of these restricted free agent centers. I know there's now reporting that the Wizards are not going to trade Anthony Davis. We'll keep an eye on that as well.
All right, Sam, certainly appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on, and I know we'll be leaning on you throughout the night and the weeks to come. And just to put a button on the Denver Nuggets, you're taking a look at their past 4 postseasons. We're showing facts here, right? That they won the title in 23 and then exits since then. But that roster in 23, vastly different with the exception of Murray and Jokic. A lot of guys like Christian Brown who are on the bench, forced to start, leading to some of the things that we just talked about regarding this team with Sam just now.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here. Nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's a gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me out.
You are a stone cold killer. I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We'll break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places.
Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul, is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation is about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Now for your headlines, LeBron James informed the Lakers he will be playing elsewhere next season. Future Hall of Famer spent the past 8 seasons in LA, leading the Lakers to a championship back in 2020. It'll be a new adventure for LeBron, who's won at least 1 NBA title with the other 3 franchises he's played for. 4-time MVP will be entering his record 24th season in the association and turns 42 in December. Kawhi Leonard making his return to Canada. Clippers are trading the 7-time All-Star to the Toronto Raptors per multiple reports. Leonard spent just 1 season in Toronto, led their franchise to the first and only championship back in 2019. He's coming off his best season of his career, averaging just under 28 points and 6.5 rebounds per game. Here's a look at the full reported trade details. Clippers acquire 2 players in this deal, including Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick. In terms of draft capital, LA receiving 2 first-round picks, a first-round pick swap, and 2 second-rounders.
About it. Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me out.
You are a stone cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation is about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Just over 5 minutes left in show. Final thoughts, Coach. I'll start with you. One big question heading up to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Where is the king going to sign? Where's LeBron James next? Where's his next home? Every team that he's played for, he's helped win a championship. I believe that's still important to him. So that's why I think going to a team where he thinks he can win another chip, that's where he's going to sign.
Yeah, I'm a Northern California guy. I mean, let's do this. Enough already. Let's get Steph and LeBron together. What a story. It's probably not going to happen. But what a story it would be for them to get together and both win their 5th championship. They're all chasing rings. They both win number 5 together. It'd be hard for that team to stay healthy, but I say give them the shot. And the other guy, of course, that we're all watching is Jaylen Brown. Well, you know, Sam talked about it on when you had him on the last segment of, like, the market might be kind of drying up. Can he go back to Boston? Probably not. So there's the possibility of a mystery team emerging here. I think there's a number of teams that Jaylen Brown makes sense on, and that would also have a package that is attractive to go back to Boston. I'm looking at Charlotte that just traded for Naz Reid. That Boston has needed a center, a stretch center in particular. I'm looking at a team like the Magic, who probably have to break up Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero and need a half-court creator and have assets to send back in terms of young players. I think there's a mystery team that could pop out for Jaylen Brown. I don't think he's going back to Boston. So where does Jaylen end up, and where does LeBron end up?
And quick thing.
Yeah.
I know LeBron may end up at Golden State or Cleveland, but since you're so wealthy and healthy right now, LeBron, if you want to join my San Antonio Spurs, we would love to have you. We can figure it out.
Clip it and send it.
Who wouldn't want to go to the Spurs right now? Avery, you can suit up again.
No.
All you got to do is throw it into Big Ben. You can throw a couple lobs. A couple of lobs.
I love that. These two have been doing outstanding work all day long, so we appreciate you guys, Avery Johnson and Brad Botkin. By the way, I'll just break the tie. Warriors already got Dominican LeBron. Go out there and get LeBron. Shortest odds to win the 27 finals. Thunder and Spurs are your betting favorites at +270. Reigning champ Knicks are at 8-1. Then there is a vastly different tier that start with the Heat and Nuggets, Timberwolves, all around 22-1. Thanks for joining our free agency special. Top of the hour, Hakeem Dervish leading the way for us in Stamford, Connecticut. Have a great night, folks. Enjoy it. We'll see you soon.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me.
Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind.
Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer.
1, 2, hit me outside.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We'll break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family, that's the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars. What a difference she has made.
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ hits every highlight from all the sports that matter to you.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7.
Oh, free agency in the NBA is officially underway. LeBron James has informed the Lakers that he will be playing elsewhere next season, and Kawhi Leonard is making his return to Canada. ESPN reports that the Clippers are trading the 7-time All-Star to the Toronto Raptors. Kawhi's most famous shot in a Raptors uniform was in 2019, the first game-winning buzzer beater in a Game 7 in NBA playoff history. A fadeaway in the corner, the ball bounced on the rim 4 times before going in to beat the 76ers in the Eastern Conference semis. Kawhi played just 1 season in Toronto, ultimately leading the franchise to its first and only NBA championship in 2019. That offseason, he signed with the Clippers, where he spent the past 6 seasons. Coming off the best year of his career, averaged 28 points, 6.5 rebounds per game. In return for Kawhi, the Clippers will receive a package that includes Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, a pick swap, and 2 second-rounders. Kawhi leaves LA while the Clippers remain under investigation by the NBA on whether they circumvented the salary cap by funneling money to Kawhi through a company named Aspiration. And with that, we say hello and welcome to CBS Sports HQ alongside CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez, Noah Bono. I am Hakeem Dermish. We have got wall-to-wall coverage of NBA free agency. We're also streaming live on YouTube, and you too can be a part of the conversation. We'll read the best comments on the air. Please keep them clean. We all know adult words, but please keep them clean, right? Because we want to have adult conversations, but with clean words so that everybody can watch and enjoy. We begin with Kawhi going back to Toronto, John. Your reaction is what?
The first guy in history to force his way back to Canada. I thought that was interesting. He wanted to get out of Canada, and now he's going back. But clearly his time in LA wasn't what he wanted it to be. They had championship aspirations. That didn't happen. And so now that whole Clippers team has been dismantled. I mean, when you think about all the big names that they had there, it's not just Kawhi that's gone, right? They got rid of PG. James Harden got traded. Zubac got traded. Norm Powell, he's gone. John Collins could be gone this offseason. That whole team is stripped down and rebuilding around Darius Garland, Benedict Mathurin, Keaton Wagler. That's the Clippers situation now, where they realize, hey, they needed some draft picks to come in, and Kawhi Leonard gets to go back to the Eastern Conference, where all of a sudden, we were talking about this in the newsroom earlier, that the Eastern Conference odds, Celtics, Knicks, and then your Toronto Raptors at the top of the odds to potentially be competitors next year. So the Raptors got a good one, but they knew that anyway.
I think them being that high up in the odds makes sense. Like, Kawhi adds the dimension that I think I said to you on HQ a couple weeks ago. Like, imagine if you upgraded Tobias Harris and the Detroit Pistons for Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. Like, what that would have done to the Pistons. That's a similar situation here in Toronto, because Brandon Ingram is a good basketball player, but I think everybody kind of knows where we're at with BI. And upgrading from BI to Kawhi Leonard is like giving your 18-year-old a Chevy, and now you're driving a Lincoln. It's a lot more luxurious. It's higher end. You're looking for an older person. People are usually driving a Lincoln, and I think Kawhi is that guy. High maintenance.
You're big into Lincolns.
I really, yeah. Matthew McConaughey got me into the Lincolns. But I think that, like, Brandon Ingram is, you know what you're going to get with it. You're going to beat it into the ground. He wasn't available in the playoffs. He's been injured pretty much nonstop throughout his career. It stops in LA and in New Orleans, and then in Toronto. I think when you look at Kawhi, it's like he just turned 35 yesterday. Like, he's coming off maybe his best regular season of his career with a Clippers team that was so tumultuous. And then you trade James Harden. I love the move. I don't think Kawhi ever should have left Toronto.
Agreed. He goes back to familiarity. Also with us tonight, CBS Sports NBA writer and salary cap expert Sam Quinn. Sam, welcome to the show here. What do you make of the Raptors' move to reacquire Kawhi Leonard?
They are now the second best team in the Eastern Conference, assuming they stay healthy. That is always a big if with Kawhi Leonard, but I absolutely love the addition. I've wanted them to do this since they got knocked out in the first round by Cleveland. You look at that team, they are just loaded with big wings. Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes, Colin Murray-Boyles. I know we had Jakob Poeltl starting on that graphic. Colin Murray-Boyles is going to close games at center. They got Jacoby Walter and Jamal Shedd as those relentless defensive guards. I don't know how anybody's going to score on them. They acquired Brandon Ingram 2 trade deadlines ago with the idea that as versatile as Scotty Barnes is, he's not really a half-court shot maker. He's not somebody we want the ball in his hands late in big games. Kawhi Leonard is the apex shot maker. He made the biggest shot in Raptors history, that 4-bouncer off of the rim. They are absolutely perfect together. If they can stay healthy, I think they've passed Detroit. I think they've passed Boston. The Raptors and the Knicks are now the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Sam loves this move. Look how excited he is, right?
Well, he sounds like excited. He loves basketball.
But look, when you get Sam Quinn excited about a move by the Toronto Raptors, I mean, that's saying something, right? Like, that's pretty good. How do you think Kawhi, and I know, of course, he has to agree to this, but and necessarily when you think about his career overall, how do you think he's processing this to go back to Toronto?
Well, Sam mentioned it. I mean, his last run there was so successful. I covered that entire run up to and including what Sam had mentioned about that 4-bouncer in Toronto. I was in the building that night, and it bounced so many times. It was up there for so long, I actually had the time to say to the guy next to me, oh, we're going to overtime. And then they did not go to overtime.
No.
So that was an absolutely unbelievable play. And then they end the Warriors dynasty. And I think, he wanted to go to L.A. He thought he could build something with Paul George. But I'm with Sam that this is a huge upgrade for the Raptors. I'm a little behind Sam on making them the second best team in the Eastern Conference. But if they're not the second best team, then they're the third best team along with the Knicks and the Celtics. But yes, this roster right now, especially defensively, when you have Kawhi, who is a massive upgrade, as Noah mentioned, over Brandon Ingram. Scotty Barnes is a lockdown defender. He's incredible. RJ Barrett is on an expiring contract. They've been trying to trade him forever. They could just say goodbye to him or use him in a trade piece. Jakob Poeltl and Emmanuel quickly. That's a nice starting 5. And then they've got a really underrated bench that maybe some casuals don't know about. So, yes, I think that Kawhi Leonard, looking at the situation he's leaving in L.A., where they're dismantling the Clippers, going to the Raptors, where all of a sudden they can actually compete. And people love to dump on the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is better than people think, and that includes especially this revamped Raptors roster.
No, he was so quick to leave. And now he's back, right? After 6 seasons, he goes back to a place he led this team to a title.
Yeah, it was weird when he left after they beat the Warriors in 2019 because when he got traded there was all the speculation as he was there, like, oh, there's no guarantee Kawhi comes back. And then he wins the championship. And it was almost like, Toronto and Canada just wasn't surprised. They're like, well, we didn't think we were keeping this guy anyway.
Right.
But I think that moving forward now, like, the Clippers situation was what it was. It was littered with tons and tons of injury. You sprinkle in the Russell Westbrook experiment, the James Harden experiment with Paul George. All those guys were on the same team at one point, and nobody could ever really get it clicking. And the only chance, in my opinion, that Clippers team really had was in 2021 when Kawhi kind of partially tore his ACL, and they weren't sure versus the Utah Jazz. And then Paul George got the Clippers over the hump to the conference finals. I thought that was the Clippers' best chance post the NBA bubble. But what John said about the moving star power from west to east, I think is the most interesting thing. That for a while in the NBA in the early 2020s, you were getting all these stars going out west, and then you're looking at draft classes and Cooper Flagg goes west, Victor Wembanyama goes west, and you're thinking, like, what is going on in the Eastern Conference? Do these guys not draft well? Do they not know how to acquire talent? But now you get slowly Paul George, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard, all Western Conference guys, all older, go back east. I think that because there's such a blend of older talent in the NBA right now, of these guys that just won't go away, like these guys' prime just are continuing to extend, it's making the league deeper than ever, and it's nice that some of them are going back east where some young stars are in the West. I think the balance is becoming a lot more interesting in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I think if you look at the West, it feels like the East used to, where LeBron was always on top of the conference. There were 1 or 2 great teams in the East during those years, but after that, it wasn't as good. Now you look at the West, the Thunder and the Spurs are looming over everybody. Everybody beneath them. Denver has apron questions. The Lakers don't have a team right now. They have 2 core players locked in, and they're trying to figure the rest out on the fly. The Rockets, we saw their flaws in the first round of the playoffs against the Lakers. Minnesota takes a huge swing on LaMelo Ball. The West has those 2 dominant teams, and the East underneath them Boston is going to be very good if they can get Jaylen Brown back in the fold or make a good trade. The Knicks just won the championship. The Raptors are loaded now with Kawhi Leonard. Detroit won 60 games. They're going to add offense. The Pacers coming back with Tyrese Halliburton. The Heat coming in with Giannis Antetokounmpo. The conferences feel a lot more balanced now. I love this for Toronto, and I love this for the entire NBA.
John, all right, so you're the Clippers, and you're sitting in that chair, and from your perspective, okay, they get a nice package back in return for Kawhi, but it's not Kawhi. What's next for them? What do they need to do here in free agency? Do they need to go out and make a splash, or is this a bridge year?
I think it's a bridge year. I think it's reboot city for them. I mean, they needed to get some picks back for sure, so they get 2 firsts in this deal, plus a pick swap, plus 2 seconds, and that's crucial because they don't have a pick in 2028. They owe the Thunder a pick swap in 2027. The Sixers have a pick swap in 2029. Yes, they do get that Pacers first rounder in 2029 in that Zubac deal, but if I'm the Clippers, I'm looking at this thing going, okay, Darius Garland, Benedict Mathurin, John Collins is probably out the door in free agency. Brook Lopez is, Brook Lopez not on the front end of his career. You got Keaton Wagler. So this is all of a sudden a situation where if I'm the Clippers, and especially with that aspiration investigation hanging over your head, that this is one of those things where you go, it's time for us to say goodbye to Kawhi Leonard. Let's get some picks in. Brandon Ingram is fine, right? He's never really realized his full potential, but yes, this feels like reboot city to me.
Well, he'll just average 25 on a bad team. And they won't make the play-in or the playoffs, and that'll just be the
Yeah, but
fate
how
of
can
the
that
Los
be
Angeles
okay,
Clippers.
though, for the Clippers? They just opened a new stadium last season.
It's not okay.
I know. Steve Ballmer's trying to
But
make
that's
this
just
a
the
championship.
reality. You got rid of James Harden because he is what he is.
Right.
The mesh with him and Kawhi it never came to fruition. Go ahead, John.
No, once you trade James Harden and Zubac, the writing's on the wall.
Especially
This thing's
Zubac,
over.
because Zubac is the guy that you're like, is the young guy that came off a great 2-man year playing alongside James Harden, and they were so cohesive together. I was wondering for the last 3 weeks, what are the Clippers going to do with Kawhi? Because they traded the guy that they thought was going to help Kawhi win. They traded the young big. That it's like, you were a 9 seed in the Western Conference. And the West is loaded, right? It's top-heavy because the Spurs and the Thunder are unbelievable. But outside of that, the Clippers were slowly falling out of that mix in the middle of the pack, that it was like, what are we going to keep this guy around for? What are we going to pay him all this money for? We haven't had the success that we wanted to have with him. It's been 7 years. We're good.
Look, Sam, when you look at this roster, there's talent there, right? We don't know what Keaton Wagler is going to become in his rookie season. Nobody knew what he was going to be in high school. He was 150th come out of high school, and now he was a first-round pick, a lottery pick. When you think about what they have there currently, and you look at their roster, what move can they make? What move would you like them to make?
Well, they're going to pursue Peyton Watson in restricted free agency. They do have cap flexibility, bring in a young athletic wing. But when I look at the Clippers in the big picture, I turn the clock back to 2018 when they lost Chris Paul to the Houston Rockets. What did they do? They re-signed Blake Griffin, and then they immediately trade him for more assets. The idea at that point was gain liquidity, get draft picks that you can trade, and maintain cap flexibility so that when the next star wants to come to Los Angeles, because somebody always does, right? Somebody in the NBA always wants to live in LA. As the Clippers, you want to be flexible enough to go get that guy. It was Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in 2019. Who knows who it's going to be in 2027, 2028, 2029. They still have 1 draft pick left over from that Ivica Zubac trade. It's the 2029 pick from Indiana. Something I want to stress here. It is very unusual, but 2 hours after this trade, we don't know specifically what the first-round picks in this trade are. Why does that matter? Because in the NBA right now, there are 2 classes of first-round picks. There are lottery reform picks that come between 2027 and 2029, and then there are, we don't know the rules picks that are coming in the 2030s because the new lottery reform only lasts through the 2029 NBA draft. We have to see what these picks are. If they're picks in the 2020s, they're okay. They're nice trade chips. Maybe you can use them to add to the team. If you're getting picks in the 2030s, those are the ones you're going to be able to use on star swings down the line.
Great point right there from Sam Quinn as we continue on our free agency special here on CBS Sports HQ. Kawhi Leonard going back to Toronto as you take a look at the Raptors playoff history. And look, before Kawhi got there, this is a solid franchise, but he led them to their first and only NBA title, that coming in 2019. He bolted for LA. Now he is back in the 6. Will LeBron return home to Cleveland, Ohio? Or could he return to Miami? we'll explore the options for LeBron as he tells the Lakers, I'm good, see you later. I'm on to a new team or perhaps an old team. That's next on CBS Sports HQ. Keep it locked.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now?
Family does not leave family behind.
Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer.
1, 2, hit me out loud.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places.
Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars. What a difference she has made.
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation is about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ as our NBA free agency special continues. LeBron has a new decision. King James informed the Lakers that he will be playing elsewhere next season. Future Hall of Famer has spent the past 8 seasons in Los Angeles, leading the Lakers to a championship in 2020 in the bubble. 4-time MVP will be entering his record 24th season in the NBA. He turns 42 years old in December, looking for one more championship run. PGA Tour is looking for him to join their ranks. They said, we're waiting for you, Bron. It'd be interesting if he were to go and play on the PGA Tour. It'd be incredible. He's actually a pretty good golfer. Is he? He's not bad. I mean, he can't play at the PGA Tour level.
I heard he was pretty bad, but
I mean, he's not terrible. He's got a decent swing. I'm not saying he's gonna, you know, he probably would miss the cut in every event he played in. So, but
he's not playing with you, right? I mean, he's not in your.
Oh, I'm a hack.
He's not.
He's better than me. I'm a hack golfer. You're not a hack golfer. Back here with John Gonzalez, Noah Bono, as our conversation continues. We've got wall-to-wall coverage of NBA free agency. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You too can be part of the conversation. We're going to read some of your best comments here on the air. We continue with LeBron's new decision. And, John, your reaction to him leaving L.A., because at one point we thought probably just going to continue in L.A. and fade off into the sunset.
Yeah, I thought that was the most likely scenario, right? Because his business interests are in L.A., his kid plays for the Lakers, which, by the way, kudos to LeBron on waiting to tell the Lakers that he was going to leave until after Bronny James's contract became fully guaranteed. Chef's kiss on the family move there. But, 8 years in L.A. is a long time. I thought that he would maybe just finish out his career there. But clearly he's decided that's enough. He won a championship there. Yes, it was in the bubble, but still a championship is a championship. And now you open up these really interesting possibilities where does he go to the Warriors? Does he go back to your Cleveland Cavaliers for the third time and finish it up there? I know that you want to hashtag let him know on that. And then the Heat now all of a sudden have come into the picture. And then dark horse also, the Wolves have made it known that they're interested in landing LeBron James. So yet another, it looks like we're headed for yet another decision summer of LeBron James where he's not going to rush this thing. I would seriously be surprised if anything happens tonight or maybe even tomorrow because as we all know, LeBron loves the attention on him and now he's got it.
Yeah, and I like the attention being on him. Year 24, and just think about the magnitude of like what this pre-free agency has been leading up to today. It's been pretty crazy, and then waiting on what LeBron was going to do or announce. And we don't even have a team announcement. We just have an announcement that like he's not playing for the Lakers, which let me just say, I couldn't be more ecstatic that he will not be part of the Lakers. Like I've been waiting for this. I thought it should have happened last summer. I thought he should have opted out of that deal, the $50+ million that he got this past year. I thought he should have opted out of that because I just feel like there was so much data and there was so many bridges burned behind the scenes with these guys, especially after that Russell Westbrook debacle that, yes, LeBron had a hand in, but ultimately Rob Pelinka pulled the trigger on. And every trigger Rob Pelinka pulled from that moment and beyond was quite frankly the wrong one until Luka Doncic was gifted to him. And I just think that LeBron leaving the Lakers after giving them a title and all the bashing from the fan base and then half the fan base accepting him and then the other half not accepting him and this is Kobe's team. It's like you guys were in basketball purgatory before LeBron James showed up. And then all of a sudden, you forget what gratitude means when he brings you a championship that the Lakers would have won regardless of the bubble. They were the best team in 2020. And then to win it under those circumstances, just because there's no fans and there's no travel, all of a sudden there's an asterisk next to it and it's a Mickey Mouse title. No, it's
Some
not.
would argue that title was the hardest for him to
win. And by
the
way, when they traded for Russell Westbrook, they were bad the first year with him. They were bad the next year with him until they traded him. And then they went to a conference finals with him and Anthony Davis and Darvin Ham, who proved that he wasn't the right guy for the job because it was all on LeBron's shoulder. And at time and time again, he proved to you, if you put the pieces around him, he knows what to do. And time again, I believe Rob Pelinka and the Lakers did not put the necessary pieces around him. And you know what proof I have? Is that Jackson Hayes was on the roster with LeBron James. The New Orleans Pelicans didn't even want Jackson Hayes. But the Lakers thought, you know what? Former lottery pick. We'll give him a chance. No.
Your hatred of Jackson Hayes has reached dangerous levels.
It's just unbelievable malpractice.
Hey, Jackson Hayes is a big deal. If he gets injured, we come up with that here on CBS Sports HQ, right? Like, I'm not kidding you around. Like, he gets injured, we're coming up with that, and we're talking about what's the impact for that team.
You know why? Because they got nobody else in the front.
Well, I'm just telling you.
And that's
news.
DeAndre the biggest problem. Right, and who had to opt into his $8 million deal because there's no market for the former number 1 overall pick. And it's just like time and time again, you could go through the transactions, and the Lakers, to me, just didn't do right by LeBron. Post Russell Westbrook, I know they tried with the Westbrook trade, but post that trade, it didn't work out. And we will get more data with Rob Pelinka in that seat, who has to hire 2 assistant general managers because the Dodgers ownership group doesn't trust him to do the job alone. So he needs 2 guys in his back pocket to really help him. And we'll see what he does with Luka Doncic. Can he put a team around him? Because he's already wasted a year and a half of the Luka Doncic era.
Well, we got another guy to help us with this conversation. It's welcome back CBS Sports NBA writer, salary cap expert Sam Quinn. The LeBron era in LA is over. Sam, the Luka era continues. What's next for the Lakers and how they proceed here?
They are looking for a center, and I imagine they are looking under every rock they can find to try to get that guy. The 2 big names out there right now are both restricted free agents. Walker Kessler with the Utah Jazz, who the Lakers have been linked to forever. He is an imposing rim protector, great rebounder, not so much an offensive player, but he's also never played with a real point guard in Utah. Luka would help on that front. And then the other option is Jalen Duren, the restricted free agent out of the Detroit Pistons, all-NBA player last season. There seems to be a disconnect between him and the Pistons. He's meeting with the Kings. He's doing everything in his power to drum up a max offer because the Pistons do not seem eager to give him one. This could go in one of a few ways. The Lakers could just throw a max offer sheet at one of those guys and dare their teams to match it. They could offer one of those teams a sign and trade. You'd probably have to give up picks, but you could at least get that guy on a somewhat more favorable contract. Where they're at right now, they have around $51 million in cap space. The max for either of those 2 is around $41 million. You could talk about throwing another $10 million at another player, use the cap room mid-level exception around $9 million. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that they've added 2 free agents into those 2 slots tonight, and then the center situation drags on for the next several days, maybe even into next week when the moratorium ends on July 6th.
Don't you think, though, John, and we've had this conversation before, but now here for this show, teams are going to be a little hesitant with Jaylen Brown. Great in the regular season, not so great in the playoffs with Detroit. Like, if I'm the Lakers and I'm trying to win with Luka, right, in his prime years, is that the guy you want to pair him with?
Yeah, it's dangerous because on the one hand, he had a phenomenal regular season, right?
Phenomenal.
Last offseason, he wanted $30 million per, and the Pistons balked at it. And that would have been a bargain now in retrospect. So they say no, he bets on himself, he goes into the season, and he wins that bet. He makes All-NBA. During the regular season, he looked phenomenal. He was a key reason, along with Cade Cunningham, why the Pistons were atop the Eastern Conference all season long. And then in the postseason, it was disastrous. Noah and Sam and I were on HQ a ton with you, watching him in the first couple of rounds, and he got outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr. You get outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr. No disrespect to Wendell Carter. He gave a full effort in that Magic series. But when you're an All-NBA candidate and you get outplayed by Wendell Carter, for your money. So now all of a sudden this offseason, he's eligible because of that All-NBA for 5 years and $287 million. Not getting anywhere close to that. And then he goes, okay, well, I wanted 30 last year. How about we go 40 per? Sounds like the Pistons don't want to do that either. And so to Sam's point, maybe the Lakers do throw a bag at him and see if the Pistons just let him walk. I would be, a little bit concerned about that because at 22, look, it's only one postseason, but it was a big one for him, and he came up really small. So if the Lakers go that way, you're kind of crossing your fingers, but they've been linked to just about everybody, right? Sandro Mamukelashvili, Dean Wade, Tari Eason, Peyton Watson, Quentin Green. You name somebody, they've been linked to him, including Jaylen Brown.
I think the Pistons would be very regretful 5 years from now if they let Jaylen Brown walk. And I'm not saying pay him $40 million, but he's 22 years old and he's really good at basketball. And these big guys are not easy to come by at the talent level that Jaylen Brown has proven to be at. 19 points a game, 10 rebounds, 65% from the floor. I understand the playoff woes. It was one postseason. He's actually fairly good in their first ever postseason run last year when they took the Knicks to 6 games. And he ran into a couple walls. He lost his confidence earlier. It was hard to get back. Once the Pistons establish who their secondary scorer is out on the perimeter, Jaylen Brown's life is going to become a lot easier. If I'm the Lakers, throw as much money as you can at him because he's the perfect fit, near perfect fit for what a Luka Doncic-led team needs in that front court. But if I'm the Pistons, I would not let Jaylen Brown walk out the door. And I know the money is a little bit skewed because John mentioned the All-NBA stuff. And I do think, with that being said, because this is a two-sided relationship, Jaylen Brown's got to be a little bit more self-aware here and take some better advice at hey, man, you're not worth $40 million. I know that you're allowed to get 40, but you're not worth 40. And he should come to terms with that, sign for a deal that helps the Pistons, and stay with the team that drafted him, given there's no real bad blood here. And I do think that he is the perfect running mate to run with Cade Cunningham over the next decade.
The bad blood, I'm not sure about that,
but is he creating the bad blood,
the Pistons, last year, last offseason, the Pistons could have gone and locked him up for 30 per, and they said, nah, we don't think you're worth that much. You want to go out there and find that money? Go ahead and try to do that. And then right now, he's trying to find more money. This is what that is really about. When they're saying to him, not only we're not going to give you the max contract that you potentially earned because you made All-NBA, we don't want to give you the $200 million in the 40 per because we don't think you're worth that either, even at 22. So there's enough bad blood that he's now agitating for a move to possibly even Sacramento, where when I said to you that Kawhi Leonard is the first guy who ever forced his way into Toronto, Jaylen Brown would be the first guy in NBA history to force his way to Sacramento. So, yes, a little bit of bad blood.
That would be career purgatory. Do we have time to go back to the Lakers' needs here really quick?
Go for it.
You know what they need?
Tell me.
LeBron. And they don't want
That's not happening.
I know it's not happening, but the reason that it's worth mentioning is because the fact that these guys were so adamant that, we're just done here. I would go on the record and say that I would be very surprised if Rob Pelinka or whoever ends up being the GM 5 years from now is able to find a teammate that is as good or better than year 22 and year 23 LeBron that Luka just played with. And not re-signing LeBron to come back to this team that won 53 games in a loaded Western Conference will prove to be a mistake because no matter who they get in free agency, Jaylen Brown, throw Norman Powell, whoever they grab, will not stack up and add the impact and the value that LeBron James adds to that team. Simple.
Well, they had that scenario in Dallas, right? Luka had a guy named Jalen Brunson to play with, and what did he do? He go and won an NBA championship. So they missed that pretty badly there in Dallas. There is news. Mark J. Spears reporting the Pistons have offered what the franchise believes is the most lucrative contract possible for their all-star restricted free agent. Not interested in any sign and trade deals and will match any potential offer sheet he signs. So we're going to keep an eye on that report from Mark J. Spears. Appreciate that. Still ahead here on CBS Sports HQ. LeBron and Steph won gold together. Can they win in Golden State? That's next on CBS Sports HQ.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me out.
You are a stone cold killer.
1, 2, hit me outside.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We'll break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family, that's the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end. I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
A crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, the summer blockbuster movie slate is underway, and we've got a few more options to consider in 2026. Golden State of Mind. LeBron James joins forces with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Anthony Davis. 4 future Hall of Famers team up to tame the league one last time. That was my movie narrator voice. I'll try better on the next one. Back here on CBS Sports HQ, John Gonzalez, Noah Bono. I'm Hakeem Dermish. All right, John. How does this movie get made in Golden State for LeBron to go to the Warriors, and consider the Wizards are not listening to any offers about Anthony Davis?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I buy that last part, right? Because if you're the Wizards, and Sam and I were talking about this earlier, but if you're the Wizards and you have Anthony Davis, and I know that they're saying they're making a lot of noise about we love Trae Young, and they did pay Trae Young, so that's a little unusual. I wouldn't have paid Trae Young $212 million, especially because the Hawks had the opportunity to do that and decided no thank you, we'd rather have CJ McCollum's expiring contract and Corey Kispert, but I digress. I just think that if you're the Wizards, do you really want to pay Anthony Davis $58 million this season and $62 million next season with a player option. And then, oh, by the way, you also get to be the team that has to give him his new contract when he's going to be 34 going into his 35 season. If I'm the Wizards, I maybe, we really don't want to trade Anthony Davis. Golden State, give us your best offer, but we're not really listening. And then thank you so much, Golden State, for taking that contract off our hands. You can have him because the guy doesn't play. He's only played 29 games since being traded from Los Angeles. I mean, think about that. Since he got traded from the Lakers, he's only played 29 games. Now, I don't think that that's a hang-up for LeBron to go to Golden State. I think the idea, like you mentioned, we got a little tease of it in the Olympics with Steph and LeBron James. Yes, and please give this to me. Whether or not you got to offload Jimmy Butler, Draymond already took the player option off the table so that they can get this thing rolling a little bit. Of all these different possibilities that we're talking about, Steph and LeBron, before these two are done, we got to see this.
So you said he played how many games in the last?
29 since being traded.
Okay, so from January 24th, 2023 to February 1st, the day he was traded, 2025, he played 149 of a possible 163 games. So there was a Western Conference Finals in appearance in that run, and that's not counting the postseason games that he played as well. But of regular season games, he went on a trend after some Achilles tendonitis and stuff when Russell Westbrook was part of the Lakers and they traded Russ, where he went on a streak and he was available for the Lakers. I'm not saying that someone should pay Anthony Davis that money, but if there is a team that's going to do it, the Wizards make sense because they're young and they're not really contending for anything. And then I think the Warriors make sense because they're old. And this is a desperation play. And he's only 33. And I still think there's a little bit more runway for Anthony Davis, pending the motivation in front of him. If you put him on a team with LeBron James and Stephen Curry, and all of a sudden he's getting flashbacks of the 2024 Olympics run, I just think that there's a different level of motivation for him as an all-75 caliber NBA player, that I think that we will see a version of Anthony Davis where, I think a lot of Anthony Davis's injuries, he's unlucky. There's a lot of just stuff that happens where you're like, wow, why is he landing on a guy's foot like that? Why is someone landing on his leg? There's a lot of unluckiness when Anthony Davis is out on the court. I don't think he's actually not as durable as people make it seem. But I think when there's added motivation, like playing next to LeBron, who he won his only championship with, and then Steph Curry, who these guys both love, I think it would skyrocket his motivation, keep him healthy in some capacity, given that trend and that 2.5 sample size of years, that I wouldn't mind paying Anthony Davis that amount of money. I think Anthony Davis, when healthy, yes, that matters, is one of the 3 best bigs in the league. He's always had that type of impact on both sides of the ball. So I wouldn't hesitate to give him the money. I know that it's a risk because he's always injured. But if he's not part of this Golden State deal with LeBron, I don't really think we're talking about a really talented Golden State team that's going to make a push against that Oklahoma City and that San Antonio team. Anthony Davis needs to be a part of that. Otherwise, we're just watching Steph and LeBron, which would be great, but I don't think that's a contending team, just the two of them.
All right, let's welcome in Sam Quinn, CBS Sports NBA writer and salary cap expert. Sam, how much of a pay cut does LeBron need to take here to make this work with the Warriors, even without Anthony Davis in the picture?
Well, there's a question here that involves Draymond Green. Like John said, he did decline his player option. That means he is technically a free agent. You assume he's going to be back. How little is he willing to take? They re-signed Kristaps Porzingis. That contract is going to start at around $19 million. That should leave the Warriors room if they wanted to give LeBron that full mid-level exception at around $15 million to do that. But if you're going to pay Draymond something substantial on top of that, can you move a Moses Moody? I think you could get off of that contract if you absolutely had to, making around $13 million. Somebody could take him into their mid-level exception. One of the cap space teams might want him. But he's going from making over $50 million last season, LeBron, to going down to the mid-level. That is a substantial pay cut. LeBron has been making either the max or a max-adjacent contract since, I believe, 2007. It's been 19 seasons. I don't know how far down he's willing to go. There has been reporting from ESPN that this decision is going to be about happiness and not about money. Well, money makes some people happy. LeBron is a billionaire. He should know that. So we'll see how far down he's willing to go. If it's Golden State, it would probably be capped at that $15 million mid-level exception.
Yeah, the money for LeBron doesn't really matter, and I believe that because the Larry O'Brien trophy, that's priceless. You can't put.
I think that has to matter the most,
and that's what it is to me. It's the drive for 5, right, for LeBron.
He said though that he's not ring chasing. You're not buying that?
No.
What do you mean not ring chasing?
No, I don't buy. That's what I don't buy. I buy that he's not worried about the money. I don't buy that he's not chasing another ring.
Okay, so if he's not chasing another ring, then is the Warriors the best spot for him for all the reasons that Noah laid out, right? I mean,
I don't think so.
I know which way you're going.
Of course, but even if I wasn't a
there's
fan
two logical
of a team in the
answers
Eastern Conference, you have to go through San Antonio, OKC, Minnesota. Don't forget about Denver.
That's why there's two logical options here, and they're both in the East, and it's the two teams he's previously played for, the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they both, like I was joking with you guys before we came down here, but like if James Harden is speculated after opting out of his $42 million deal to get somewhere around 25 to 30 million, and then they expect LeBron, Bobby Marks said it on ESPN, that if that were the case for Harden at 30 million, LeBron would only be able to get 6 million. In what scenario is James Harden worth more than LeBron James? In no scenario should James Harden be paid that money. So if James Harden's waiting it out and trying to take the pay cut and help LeBron, I know that the Cavs had a handshake agreement with James Harden, but I would ditch that agreement in a blink of an eye if I knew I could land LeBron James back as for a homecoming, because they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year with Harden, and we watched Harden get exposed. We watched the age be a factor. We watched the playoff deterioration that happens year after year after year. I think we could ditch that. You could add LeBron, who brought you the only championship you've had when he won it in 53 years, that it's like kind of a no-brainer to me.
So what you want is for James Harden to be in a club again, instead of calling Daryl Morey a liar, he's out there calling Kobe Altman a liar, because that's what would happen.
That's fine. That's literally. Why are we worried about hurting James Harden's feelings, though?
We're not.
Like, it shouldn't matter. And if you're talking about the loaded West and the Warriors and the path, like, they could have a Western Conference where they got to go through Jokic in the second round, Ant in the first round, and then have to play Wemby or SGA to get to the finals. And it's like, you go to the East, I'm not saying the balance isn't a little bit,
skewed.
Yeah, but the Eastern Conference, I think you can sneak your way past some teams if LeBron is on a team that was just in the conference finals.
Well, if LeBron goes to Golden State, he and Steph would have the most points by a pair of teammates in NBA history. Coming up, we're going to continue this summer movie blockbuster theme with a potential return to South Beach. We'll explore that option next here on CBS Sports HQ.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me out.
You are a stone cold killer. I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We will break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family, that's the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end. I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
A crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, the next summer movie up for consideration from the producers who brought you Snakes on a Plane gives us Cookies on a Plane reheated. During LeBron's first go-round, President Pat Riley banned chocolate chip cookies from the team plane. The Godfather has since softened his stance and delivers a new batch as LeBron takes his talents to South Beach to team up with the Greek Freak. Pretty good movie poster there, right?
Pretty good.
All right, back here with John and Noah, Sam Quinn along as well. All right, Cookies on a Plane, reheated, coming to a theater near you. John, people in Miami are clamoring for this movie to be made. Make your case for the studio to move forward with this potential summer blockbuster.
Yeah, well, I got bad news for the people in Miami because they're going to have to wait on this a little bit.
Okay.
So Chris Haynes is reporting that LeBron James will be patient and open-minded in selecting his next destination, which is hardly surprising because that's LeBron James' MO. But I do like the idea of him returning to South Beach because if we were talking about, again, you know, the two of you guys said that he's going to be ring chasing. It makes a lot of sense. He's 41. He's going to be 42 in December. Going east makes sense, whether it's to your Cleveland Cavaliers or back to Miami because Giannis and Bobby Portis there. They ship out Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez. Leaves the cupboard a little bare. They bring back Andrew Wiggins, who he just re-signed. They just got Tim Hardaway a few moments ago on a one-year deal, so they obviously need shooting, floor spacing, guard play. What doesn't LeBron James help there? He helps everything. I mean, immediately you insert him into that lineup, and he could be, alongside Giannis and Bam Adebayo, a real, obviously, impact player. So if I'm LeBron and I'm looking at this landscape in the Eastern Conference, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe, you know, it'd be great to team up with Steph Curry. But Giannis in the Eastern Conference offer me another chance, and Bam.
How do you think that fit works in terms of your perspective?
Well, I like competency. Yeah. And Pat Riley is unbelievably competent when it comes to building a championship roster. He did it when LeBron went there, and they were in shambles when he and Chris Bosh signed there in the summer of 2010. They didn't have a lot of people on the roster. They had to fill it out pretty quickly. They got to an NBA Finals. Okay, they lost in 6 games. Then they ran off 2 Finals wins in a row. They got to a 4th one. We all know the story. And I said this last week on HQ during the day. I'll say it again. Every time Pat Riley gets a star in the building, he either wins a championship or competes for a championship. You go back to when they got Shaquille O'Neal. They won with Dwayne Wade. You brought in Bosh and LeBron James. You win back-to-back, and you go to 4 finals, and then you get Jimmy Butler, and you appear in 2 NBA Finals in a 4-year window. So I think when you add LeBron James to this roster, the holes that he fills as a ball handler that they're going to lack from a point guard perspective, because Davion Mitchell's a really good player, but he's more of a defensive lead guard that's going to be, you know, on that point of attack side, really heating up the opposition's point guard, where LeBron, is used to having the ball in his hands. And can you just imagine a LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo pick and roll? Like, the NBA is all about pick and roll and who's going to, manipulate defensive coverages the best. Who are you going to draw a mismatch with? And we thought Dame and Giannis were going to bring a little bit of that, and it never really manifested. But LeBron James with Anthony Davis was unbelievable. And if you pair this version of LeBron James, who not too long ago averaged 10 assists a game the year they won the title in 2020, I don't see it being much different of a version there, where he can defer pretty willingly to a Giannis, to a Bam, though Bam is not going to be wouldn't be the second scorer on this team. It would be LeBron. He would cover so much up, and then he would be covered up defensively because of all the defenders that are around him.
I'm sorry, did you forget Bam Adebayo passing Kobe Bryant as a scorer? I mean, all of a sudden you're just assuming it's going to be
he's going to slide right into that.
LeBron and not Bam, but okay.
25 point per game role.
Bam erasure.
Let's welcome Sam Quinn into the conversation. Sam, does the Giannis trade leave any room for LeBron?
Yeah, this is tricky. What I would say is the Heat right now are not acting like a team that is preparing to sign LeBron James. What do I mean by that? Yesterday, Andrew Wiggins picks up his player option for $30 million, signs a 2-year extension on top of that. If they'd wanted to save extra money this year, they could have just paid him the same amount of money, but spread it out over the 3 years instead of front-loading it with that $30 million player option. They just signed Tim Hardaway to a 1-year, $6.5 million contract that's going to eat into their mid-level exception. The Heat entered today around $18 million below their first apron hard cap. Signing Hardaway eats into that, also cuts into their mid-level. They don't have that much money left to work with. Maybe you could trade Nikola Jovic. I am dubious they would be able to do that. Maybe you could waive and stretch a Bobby Portis, who you got to be your backup center in that Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. But right now, you're looking at like a $5 million deal for LeBron, not that far above the minimum. If the Heat are going to actually pay him something appropriate, I don't see an obvious path to doing that. So he'd probably have to be willing to take a pretty substantial pay cut. That being said, when LeBron signed with the Heat in 2010, he did take a discount. It was a small discount. It was a help us sign Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem discount, but it was a discount nonetheless. Pat Riley has convinced him to leave money on the table before. Maybe he could do it again.
Cookies on a plane, reheated.
I just don't think it matters.
It's going to get made.
If he takes a pay cut, it doesn't matter. Like to me, the Heat are already in contention in the East right now. You add LeBron to it. I bet those odds that we saw the Raptors third, I bet the Heat jump up to first or second if LeBron James were to join this version of the Miami Heat. That's why he's saying the money doesn't matter. What is over $500 million in career earnings? He's a billionaire. Like, if you're going to keep playing, what more do you have to prove on the basketball court from a statistical standpoint or an enjoyment standpoint? It's got to be about winning another championship. That's what he's always said, chasing the ghost in Chicago. That's what LeBron said that years ago.
He did.
That is the only reason he is still playing. And it helps that he's still really, really good.
Well, if LeBron goes back to Miami, he would be the 6th Finals MVP to leave the team and return later in his career. Speaking of returning to a former team, we'll discuss a return to Cleveland. Daddy's Home, Part 3, next on CBS Sports HQ.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now?
Family does not leave family behind.
Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer. I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves into have to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places.
Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth. She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation is about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, the next summer movie in the works. My favorite, Daddy's Home Part 3. The Chosen One chooses Cleveland again as he rekindles a past relationship. Daddy LeBron returns to his roots where it all began, with an eye on spanking the competition one last time. I got a chuckle out of you right there. Cleveland, this is for you. How about that? Noah, would you like to invest in this movie, LeBron Back to Cleveland?
I think so. I think I was really adamant on, like, if the options for LeBron were to retire or to return to Cleveland or to return to the Lakers, I would have opted for retirement. But I was on record a couple of days ago that if it's Lakers or Cavs, like, it's got to be the Cavs in my mind. This makes the most sense from, like, a perfect storybook ending perspective. And honestly, like, because of the Cavs and what the type of season they're coming off of with an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, I know they got swept, but, like, that roster won 60 games, not last season, but the season prior, that I just think that this is like the perfect situation to plug and play a year 24 LeBron right into with a Donovan Mitchell, who I think we have enough data, as we know and maybe all can agree, is not a full-blown number one option on a championship contending team. He can be right underneath that. Like, I don't think there was, for a while, it was like Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, who kind of, is that 1A. I don't think it's Donovan Mitchell, and I think LeBron is the perfect co-star, lead star to be right in front of a Donovan Mitchell-led Cavs team that I think would put Cleveland over the top.
If LeBron joins this version of the Cavaliers, they're not going to blow a 22-point fourth quarter lead to the Knicks. Won't happen.
If they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals in Game 1, it's advisable to not do that again.
They'll also know the score, unlike J.R. Smith.
Helpful to know the score.
Hey.
What?
No unnecessary jabs at J.R.
What? He didn't know the score at the end of a Game 1.
We're okay.
Of the NBA Finals.
J.R.'s past this.
That did give us one of the great NBA memes of all time, though. Yes, thank you.
Meme team.
I like this. I mean, I want it for you. Because
you don't have to want it for me. Just
want it
if
for
you
you,
want it for the league, if you think it makes sense.
Well, no matter. I want LeBron James to continue playing until his mid to late 40s. I've been pretty adamant about that. Like, if he could do the YMCA old man game for as long as he wants, I would love that. I want LeBron James to not retire, and I'm glad that he's not going to retire. So if he ends up back at the Cavs, that would be excellent as well. Although, to Noah's earlier point, it's going to be really interesting here, and Sam's point as well, about James Harden declining that $42.3 million player option. What kind of money does LeBron James command if he goes back to Cleveland, and how much is James Harden getting? Because I don't think they're going to pull the Daryl Morey, James Harden bait and switch like they did in Philadelphia. I think that Kobe Altman said, hey, work with us here so that we can try to attract LeBron. And then you've got Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, LeBron, Mobley, Jared Allen. That's a really nice first six guys.
Not a lot of defense.
First five guys.
There.
Well, you got Mobley and Jared Allen.
I mean, come on, John. Why does James Harden need to be there if you get LeBron? Why?
You're just pushing him out the door.
Good riddance, brother.
You traded your 26-year-old Darius Garland and a pick.
Don't care.
So that's it. That's just a sunk cost in your world.
It's LeBron James. What are we talking about?
Well,
4 championships, 10 NBA Finals, and James Harden. Just unbelievably, we're talking about the word competency. Incompetent in the postseason. You just showed it to you in Game 1 of the Conference Finals and throughout the postseason run with this oscillating between, is he going to show up? Is he going to get over 20 points? Is he going to get 10 assists? Is he going to turn it over 10 times? What version are you getting? I'm over it. I know what I'm getting with LeBron.
The only person...
I don't know why it's a debate.
The only person that he gets more fired up about is Jackson Hayes. It's like Jackson Hayes...
It's ridiculous that was LeBron's backup center for 3 years.
All I'm saying is maybe we pump the brakes on this a little bit and we think about, hey, you could have both, and maybe because you bring in a LeBron James, if James Harden is still there, and ostensibly he will be because they're working with James Harden, then James Harden doesn't have to be the guy that you rely on as the 1A scoring option after Donovan Mitchell because you've got LeBron James.
So what do you get? What does James Harden do then?
James Harden, look, I can't believe you put me in the situation where I'm defending James Harden. I'm like one of the last guys that would be doing this. But just for a little bit of balance here, I mean, James Harden is still really good. He has Look, there's still 82 regular season games. Am I
hear
correct? And he's been a pretty consistent, good option during the regular season. Now, your mileage may vary on his postseason play. He's definitely been inconsistent, no doubt about that. But I think bringing in a LeBron James who understands what it takes to win, a guy who delivered, the first championship to Cleveland in 50 years, I think that might help out with James Harden a little bit. I'm just saying, let's not be so quick to force James Harden out the door when he still is one of the best guards in the NBA.
I alluded to it earlier, and I'm going to just re-emphasize the point. If he's on the market right now for the Cavs to get north of $20 million, and we're talking about the greatest player of all time, or in some people's books, the second greatest player of all time, being willing to play for $5-6 million, but they're going to pay James Harden the money that you could legitimately just give to LeBron, or if you want to cut it right down in half in the middle, Sam could give us the number of what you could pay the both of them if you so desperately need to keep your word to James Harden. That's fine. All I'm saying, and you talked about them getting rid of Darius Garland and a pick to acquire James Harden, it's a sunk cost. Darius Garland also couldn't play defense. James Harden, same situation. Like, this Cavaliers team is ready to jump now, but they can't jump with James Harden. And if you employ James Harden and LeBron James on the same team at this phase of LeBron's career and the lack of defender that Donovan Mitchell has, you're looking at three guys that are going to really struggle to play defense. And if James Harden's not some defensive stopper, which he's never been, and LeBron James absorbs such a big playmaking role, where does that leave the role for James Harden? Because he didn't like it in Philly when they asked him in the first half of the year when he got there, hey, can you be the playmaker? Doc Rivers was on Bill Simmons' podcast the other day talking about, well, James wanted to change his role. He wanted to change his role the second half of the season when they lost in 7 games to the Celtics. Like, I don't think that the James Harden thing is worth it if LeBron is available.
So let's see how this LeBron-James Harden dynamic will work out, right? All right, Sam, let's bring you back in. Sam Quinn, CBS Sports NBA writer and salary cap expert. What would it take for LeBron to go back to Cleveland when you talk about dollars and cents, both literally and figuratively?
Well, the short answer right now is that we don't know. There was reporting from Jake Fisher earlier today that the Cavaliers are trying to trade or discussing trades involving Max Strus and Dennis Schroeder. They combined to make over $30 million. If you can get off of those contracts, now you're talking about a situation where you'll have the full mid-level for LeBron James at $15 million, and then you can pay James Harden on top of that. If you can't move those guys, how much is James Harden willing to take? He had a $43 million player option. It seems like he's willing to go down, maybe to 25, maybe to 30. If he's at that range, now you're more like in the taxpayer mid-level, maybe the minimum for LeBron. So we have to see what other trades they make before we know. But there is a big roster question that we have to address here. How are they defending the ball if their point guard is Donovan Mitchell, their shooting guard is James Harden, and their small forward is LeBron James? None of those guys are really on-ball defenders. You know, Donovan Mitchell's big flaw as a player for basically his entire career is that he is point guard sized, but he cannot play point guard on offense because he's not a good enough passer. Now, Kyrie Irving had that problem in Cleveland, and LeBron James solved it. But with James Harden there, are you moving him to the bench so you could put a defender in the lineup with him and LeBron? Are you starting all three of those guys and presumably losing Dean Wade, your best point of attack defender? Could you bring back Keon Ellis? That is my big question. How are you getting stops if you have those three guys together in your starting lineup and you've spent all of your extra flexibility? You've gotten rid of Max Strus. You've gotten rid of maybe Dennis Schroeder. You've lost your own free agents. You have gone so far to get all of that star power that you have no flexibility left to add any perimeter defense whatsoever.
You know what Sam just said? In other words, Daddy ain't coming home. That's what he said. That's what it feels like. Well, we'll see. It's a tricky situation. If LeBron returns to Cleveland, he would be the first MVP in NBA history with 3 stints for the same team. I'm rooting for Daddy's Home Part 3. We'll see. Coming up, we've got clarity on the Kawhi Leonard deal, the compensation for Kawhi. We'll discuss that next here on CBS Sports HQ. Keep it locked.
About it. Let's go.
Nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now?
Family does not leave family behind.
Y'all gonna make me.
You are a stone cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me. This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places.
Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth. She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation is about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, and this just in, the compensation for Kawhi Leonard. He's headed back to Toronto. In return, the Clippers get Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick, unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, second-round picks in 2030 and 2033, and a 2027 first-round swap. All right, back here in studio alongside Noah Bono, John Gonzalez, and Sam Quinn. And Sam, I want to go to you right now because you made this a point to explain this, what this means in terms of this deal, getting those unprotected picks in the 2030s.
Yeah, getting those picks in the 2030s really changes the equation for the Clippers. These are some of the most valuable picks in the NBA because, as I said earlier, we don't know what the rules are going to be after the 2029 NBA draft. For all we know, the entire lottery system looks different. There have been some pretty drastic proposals, things as crazy as, say, a draft credit system replacing a traditional lottery record-based system. Without knowing what the rules are going to be, these picks in the 2030s are really, really coveted. So who's traded them this offseason? Giannis Antetokounmpo got some picks in the 2030s for the Milwaukee Bucks. LaMelo Ball, one of the most talented guards in the NBA, got one of those picks for Minnesota, or rather going back to Charlotte. Phoenix traded one for Miles Bridges, but Phoenix makes irrational trades all the time. We can't really read into that. Teams are going to be very, very cautious about trading these picks in the 2030s because without knowing what the rules are, there's all of this uncertainty baked in. And if you look at Kawhi Leonard, who just turned 35 yesterday, he's going to be retired by the time these picks convey. You don't know what your team's going to look like. In a few years, if Scotty Barnes is at his absolute peak and he's looking around and saying, well, we did the Kawhi thing, maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, but who are you getting to put with me now? Not having those draft picks available to trade for whoever the next sidekick is, that makes this trade very, very dangerous and a big win for the Clippers. I frankly can't believe they got two unprotected picks in the 2030s. This is an A-plus trade for them now.
There you go. He gave it an A-plus. I mean, that's a nice haul for the Clippers when you talk about building for the future, and you said this season will perhaps be a bridge season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second that we saw, we all had the same reaction where unprotected in 2031 and 2033 is a home run for the Clippers because you're moving off of Kawhi anyway, and for all the reasons that Sam outlined with this new lottery reform rules, and who knows what the lottery is going to look like post 2029 and whether or not the NBA decides to extend these new rules that really flattened everything in order to sort of try to curb tanking. But the Clippers, I mean, this was a teardown, right? Where PG was already gone. They got rid of Harden and Zubac during the season. Norm Powell's been gone for a minute, and now Kawhi was the last guy out the door. And again, they've got this aspiration investigation hanging over their heads, so we'll see what Adam Silver and the league office decides to do in terms of potential punishment there. But now they've got some extra picks where if the league all of a sudden docks them their own picks, hey, all of a sudden, these ones coming in from Toronto really matter. And again, because they don't have a pick in 2028, they owe the Thunder a pick swap in 2027, the Sixers pick swap in 2029. The cupboard was a little bit bare there, and now all of a sudden they're replenishing that. So if I'm the Clippers, I'm feeling great about it. And for all the reasons that Sam mentioned about Toronto, risky for them. They've decided, hey, we're taking this swing now. We think we can compete in the Eastern Conference along with the Celtics and the Knicks. We'll see whether or not that's true.
I feel like it's risky, but in a sense, like, what else were the Raptors going to do? Like, to me, it's kind of like a why not? Why not go out and get Kawhi towards the tail end of the prime of his career, coming off what we said earlier was arguably the best regular season of his career. I kind of look at it from the Raptors' perspective as just like in 2019 when they could, or following the 2018 season, they couldn't get over the hump. They couldn't beat LeBron and the Cavs. And Masai Ujiri traded DeMar DeRozan, their franchise player, brought in Kawhi and won the championship. It's not the same type of deal because they just got back into the postseason after a drought. But I do think because of where Kawhi is at and the pieces that they already have in Toronto, it's very similar to where I was kind of going with the LeBron and the Cavs thing. The roster's in place. You just need that alpha dog. LeBron is that for Cleveland. Kawhi is that for Toronto.
Could you see them dealing those picks and saying, look, those are not going to be as valuable as we think they might be?
It's one of the, I think, what Noah touched on there is the why not component, I think, is interesting. Because if you're in the Eastern Conference, and again, the Knicks, the defending champions, and the Celtics by the odds are right there with them. Look, the Pistons were at the top of the Eastern Conference all season long and couldn't get it done, right? The Heat now have Giannis. So if you're the Raptors, you're thinking to yourself, all right, look, we've got some good pieces here. Scotty Barnes is a fantastic player, all defensive level player. RJ Barrett, we'll see what happens with him and whether or not he remains around. Quickly and Pirtle, your mileage may vary on those guys, but Kawhi Leonard is coming off of, statistically, one of his best seasons ever. Now, I have some concerns about flipping those picks for a guy who's 35 years old now, and despite the fact that he was really good this past season after they trade James Harden and Ivica Zubac, he's still Kawhi Leonard. There's been considerable availability issues and health issues with him over the years. Talent, no question. One of the best players in the NBA at both ends of the floor. But yes, that would have given me pause. I get what you're saying about, hey, roll the dice.
Yeah.
Why not? It's the Eastern Conference. But he's 35 years old, and as Sam Quinn mentioned earlier, how many more years do you have of Kawhi Leonard being out there?
Yep.
And then what does that team look like once he's done, when Scotty Barnes is still in his prime?
I think another way to maybe interestingly frame the Kawhi Leonard prime thing is how many of these older guys from the mid-2010s, where that's when Kawhi won both his finals MVPs, have we witnessed now elongate their prime? I know Kawhi has had recurring knee issues. He couldn't even play on Team USA in 2024 Olympics because of the knee flare-ups. But if you look at his game log with the Clippers, when he got there in 2020, 57 games, 52 games, 52 games, 68 games, 37 games, and then 65 games this year. He was playing north of 50 games every year. Do you want more? Of course. Yep. But, can you get 55 games out of Kawhi? Can you get into the postseason as a 4 seed or a 5 seed in an Eastern Conference where there is a ton of parity and they can maybe make another strike at it? I do think the why not and the data of all these older guys where their prime should really end by the time they're 35, 36, and we're seeing Curry as a 38-year-old still be nearly at the peak of his powers, and obviously LeBron is a complete outlier. But it's being elongated around the NBA, and I think maybe Toronto's betting a little bit on that they can extend Kawhi's prime a little bit here.
Yeah, he certainly put together a phenomenal year this past season. Perhaps he can put together another season like the one he just had, coming off the best year of his career, averaging 28 points, 6.5 rebounds per game. Kawhi Leonard headed back to the Toronto Raptors. And again, the updated compensation, the Clippers will receive unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033. As you take a look here at his last season with LA, the best season of his career, now looking to have another great season in Toronto and perhaps another championship season. Coming up, what's next for Jaylen Brown? He wants to go to a city that respects him. What city might that be? That's next on CBS Sports HQ.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone-cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places.
Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars. What a difference she has made.
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, the biggest trade of the summer so far, well, one of them was last week. The ripple effect continues. Giannis traded to the Heat, but the Celtics had a package in place that included sending Jaylen Brown to Milwaukee. The Bucks ultimately took Miami's offer, so the Celtics are actively engaged in trade talks involving Brown. He's got 3 years left on his current $304 million Supermax contract with the Celtics. All right, back here in studio with John Gonzalez, Noah Buono. Once Jaylen Brown's name was involved in a trade offer for Giannis, you knew his time in Boston was coming to an end. He recently tweeted, "Nobody has won more combined regular season and playoff games since I entered the league 10 years ago." We have confirmed that. Just because guys tweet out things doesn't mean it's always true. We confirmed it. We also have confirmed this. He has since liked a comment on Instagram saying the Celtics should trade him to a city that respects him. We also confirm those kind of things, too. We're hip with social media, and we're also hip with Basketball Reference as well. Shouts to Basketball Reference and the people that do that great work. John, would you say that Boston disrespected him?
I hate this. I mean, it's not that they disrespected him, because if you have a chance to get a player of Giannis's caliber, somebody, you got to give something to get something, right? So I understand Brad Stevens thinking about this. But this whole acrimony between Jaylen Brown and the Celtics, once you miss out on Giannis, the best thing for both the team and this particular player, Jaylen Brown, would be for them to stay together. People have been trying to break up the Jays since the Jays got together, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They made it to 5 Eastern Conference Finals. They've made 2 finals. They won a championship 3 seasons ago. Jaylen Brown, while Jason Tatum was on the mend from that Achilles injury, had one of his best seasons ever. He was an all-star. He made All-NBA. He was just outside the top 5 in the MVP voting. By the way, he's a former Finals MVP. I don't know that you're going to get commensurate value for Jaylen Brown. I understand feeling a certain way when you have that kind of resume about your team dangling you out there and saying, you know, I got to go out and defend myself and talk about my accolades and the things that I've done. But ultimately, if they were to reconcile here, I think it would behoove both the player and the team. I just think that the vibes are so bad now that it's probably one of those situations where, unfortunately for everybody involved, they're probably going to move on.
No, I'm with John. I absolutely hate this. I think that it goes back to 2019 when Jaylen Brown was in the rumor mill when they were maybe going to try to acquire Anthony Davis from the New Orleans Pelicans. It happened again in 2022 when Kevin Durant was trying to get out of Brooklyn. And, like, I think about everything John just said, and then I factor in how Jaylen Brown played this very season, almost 29 points per game, and led a Boston Celtics team that not one person was thinking, they'll be okay without Tatum. They shed Kristaps Porzingis, they get rid of Drew Holiday's contract, and they're looking like not rebuilding mode, but like, well, we're definitely not going to pay this tax and be in the second apron and deal with any of these penalties when we don't have our guy. And then Jaylen Brown showed you that, like, he is every bit of your guy as Jason Tatum is.
Right.
And I just think that if it was any other player in the NBA that did what Jaylen Brown did this year to lead the Boston Celtics to a better regular season record than the New York Knicks that won the championship, that they would be talked about in much more regard as a top 10 guy and top 5 guy or top 5 All-NBA guy. Like, Jaylen Brown should have been an All-NBA, first-team All-NBA guy. Jaylen Brown should have been top 5 in MVP voting. And he should be talked about with more respect as a guy that you can win with as your number 1 option. He's that good. He's that smart. He's that big. He's that versatile. I just don't really like, kind of to bring it all together, that the conversation continuously goes back to the Celtics got to break these guys up.
But did you want loyalty here? Because you can understand their point of view when you're trying to offer an asset at his peak performance, right?
Right.
You have a chance to get Giannis.
100%. Get Giannis. You know what you got to do is get rid of Ugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman that you were just so desperately holding on to. Because if you were going to put Jaylen Brown in the rumor mill for Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's the only guy you can trade Jaylen Brown for is Giannis, because it's Giannis. And if you're not going to pull the trigger because of 2 guys that come off your bench, then you're making a drastic mistake for an organization that does not make mistakes, because this is just too much for what Jaylen Brown has given to the organization to still be looked at as this, like, second fiddle, like, well, but can we do better than this guy? We'll keep Tatum, but can we upgrade over here? And it's just like, at what point are you just happy with what you have? And you just try to build around these guys where your front court was terrible. Just keep Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Don't even. And if you're gonna go in the rumor mill and try to get Giannis, you better nail down and surefire that you get Giannis, because now you're in this position where it looks like he doesn't want to be there. And that's unfortunate for all of us. That's unfortunate for Boston Celtics fans. And it's most unfortunate for Jason Tatum, because I'm not so sure they're going to be able to bring in a guy that is as good as Jaylen Brown, because they missed on Giannis, and that was the only guy that you could bring in that would have been better than Brown.
Is this fixable? Can they make amends? Can they say, hey, you know what? It's just business, nothing personal. We had to dangle you out there to try to get Giannis. You can't blame us. We were trying to get Giannis. We respect your ability, but we had to make a business move and a business choice, so we offered you.
I think you need to get in Brad Stevens' ear. That was a pretty good reconciliation pitch right there. You could be like a couples counselor for these guys, but that's what it feels like, right? That it needs to be sort of couples counseling, because they've been together for so long, and now all of a sudden your partner has decided that they have a wandering eye. And yes, Giannis is very attractive, but if you're Jaylen Brown, I understand feeling a certain way about this. I would just caution him to add to your reconciliation counseling that if you do get traded, where are you going and what's that team looking like?
Right.
And do you have as good a chance to win with your future team as you would have if you stay in Boston and maybe you eat a little humble pie and you suck it up a little bit because you feel that you were disrespected and not properly valued? Yes, I understand that component, but ultimately the Boston Celtics are going to give you one of the best chances to win another championship. You're already Finals MVP one time. Do you want another ring or not? If you don't, if you just want to be the guy, then sure, go to, and I know we're going to talk about all these different possible landing spots, but go to the Rockets, go to the Pistons, go to the Nuggets, go to the Blazers are hot after him. You're not going to win a championship probably with 3 of those 4, maybe all 4.
I wonder how much the initial Twitch stream comments was the igniter for Brad Stevens and the Celtics front office to go, okay, yeah, it's Giannis, but like, do we want to break this up and mess up the timelines with Giannis going into year 14 and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown being 1 year apart in the league? I wonder how much his initial comments that he did try to walk back about, this was the most enjoyable season he's had, it's the most fun he's had playing basketball, and then he tried to reframe it as one of those like, no, I just meant because of the expectations.
But did he only say that because he was the guy this season without playing alongside Jason Tatum?
When he tried to walk it back, he said that it was more so because of the expectations put on them to not succeed and then how much they did succeed. But we all have an ego. There's no doubt about it that he enjoyed every bit of what was happening during the regular season where it was just him. That's not to say he doesn't want Jason Tatum out there, but I've heard some comments that I completely agree with. Like, as the star this year, waiting on Tatum to come back, at what point was Jaylen Brown going to come out and say, can't wait for my guy to get back? Can't wait to play with JT again? We didn't hear a lot of that. So then when you make the comment on Twitch, it's kind of one of those like, does he don't really like playing with Tatum, or does he just want his own team? Because then you get the speculation around the NBA world of like, why is it always Jaylen Brown that's up on the trading block? Why isn't it Jason Tatum? He's the one coming off the torn Achilles. Jaylen Brown's been the most available of the 2 guys now after that Achilles injury. So I just think you can't blame Jaylen Brown. I think it's unfortunate that it's happening right after the season that he's had with the Boston Celtics. That was phenomenal.
All right, we're going to continue the conversation here with Jaylen Brown when we return. The potential landing spots for Jaylen Brown. What makes most sense for both sides? That's next on CBS Sports HQ, NBA free agency special. Keep it locked.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me.
You are a stone-cold killer.
1, 2, baby,
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end. I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, another domino to fall. Where will Jaylen Brown end up? He said this past season was one of his most favorite seasons in the NBA. Had a heck of a season, 28-5 for Boston in a year where they did not have Jason Tatum for the majority of the season, leading the Celtics back to the playoffs and having a nice year. And then what happens here in the offseason? His name comes up in trade talks for Giannis. He doesn't like that. He feels disrespected. So what are some possible trade destinations for Boston and Jaylen Brown? Back here with John Gonzalez. Noah Buono as our NBA free agency special continues. All right, John, a possible destination for Jaylen Brown. There's a couple possible places, but what makes sense here for both sides?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple here. I mean, straight up, you'd immediately start thinking about the Houston Rockets because things did not go the way that the Rockets expected. They probably know that they're pretty far behind Oklahoma City and the Spurs. Kevin Durant has long been linked to the Boston Celtics. That would make a lot of sense to swap those two guys out. And, of course, Jaylen Brown used to play for Ime Udoka. The Pistons situation right now is really interesting with Jalen Duren. There's some hurt feelings there over that contract. Maybe this is a situation where bad vibes in Detroit, bad vibes in Boston. They switch those two guys. You take my problem, I'll take yours. The Nuggets have been floated. I'm not sure I'm quite on board with the Nuggets because in this scenario, the rumor would be Jamal Murray and Cam Johnson for Jaylen Brown. And then you go, if you're the Nuggets, and find another point guard because the NBA has a ton of point guards. I'm not sure I like that one. But the one that's really emerged recently, and a team that's charging after him pretty hard here in this Jaylen Brown's being dangled out there. We'd like to go and trade for him is the Portland Trail Blazers. They just went and signed Ja Morant, or traded for Ja Morant yesterday, and now all of a sudden they've got this glut of guards. And I don't like Ja Morant being on the Blazers, but if you're going to unplug some of these guards, the idea would potentially be Jrue Holiday goes back to Boston along with Shaedon Sharpe, maybe a Scoot Henderson, and some picks, and then you get Jaylen Brown to Portland and you unclog some of that backcourt issues, and he would certainly slot in really well in Portland on that wing. Wouldn't make him a contender, but certainly would address a need for them on the wing.
I don't really like any of those options. Because I just think
you want to keep him in Boston.
I want Jaylen Brown.
You want to make amends.
I want him to stay in Boston.
Okay.
I think that Boston is right there on the brink of continuously competing for championships, assuming Jason Tatum doesn't have any more injury hiccups, and they realign that front court. That there's nothing to be messed with here.
But has too much happened, though? Is there a point of no return?
Probably at this point, because he's been in the rumor so long and so many times now over the duration of his career, and all he's done is go to 5 conference finals, like John said, win an NBA championship, win the finals MVP, help you be a 2 seed in the year that, the alleged supposed best player on the team was out all year, and he makes the noise of like, hey, I'm right there with Tatum. That I think the best package of players they could probably get in return is if they did do a deal with the Houston Rockets. But if John's leaning towards that's a Durant versus Jaylen Brown swap, why would the Celtics want to be in the Kevin Durant business going into year 19? I'm okay. And then you
go. As consolation prizes go, right? If you're definitely.
If you have to get rid of him.
What we were talking about was commensurate value for Jaylen Brown, and you're super high on him, and I understand why. So if you're going to have to move him, I mean, Jalen Duren, we talked about it, he's 22 years old. The Celtics definitely need a big. Is he, though, a guarantee like Jaylen Brown is? You know exactly what you're getting for him. Right. Saying the Nuggets thing could be kind of squirrely. I'm not sure I like the Blazers package.
I like
Kevin
the
Durant
Pistons.
might be the best thing you could do.
Well, for the Celtics case, you're right. For the Pistons and what they could add, I think that's pretty interesting because you guys heard me say I thought Kawhi would have been a nice upgrade from Tobias Harris in that secondary scorer where he would have been the primary scorer. And Jaylen Brown is a perfect fit on the Detroit Pistons with or without Jalen Duren, especially if you got to pay that amount of money, which you would. But and Jalen Duren would fill some front court needs if there was some sort of sign and trade that happened on the Boston Celtics. But again, if you lose Jaylen Brown and it's Jalen Duren and Jason Tatum, there's still a massive, massive hole in the middle of that roster.
We are 90 minutes into NBA free agency. Are you a little surprised that we've had not a lot of action so far? I mean, we're
hey, DeAndre Jordan signed.
I'm not.
Tim Hardaway Jr. signed or agreed. Remember, they can't sign till July 6th when the moratorium ends. But again, they've agreed deals.
Right.
But 90 minutes in here, and we don't have a big splash aside from Kawhi Leonard being traded back to the Raptors.
Unfortunately, I'm not surprised, and unfortunately, this is sort of the new reality because with the new CBA, where guys decide that previously you saw a lot of player movement in free agency. We all remember back to DeAndre Jordan and the Clippers and the Mavericks and that whole drama. That doesn't really happen anymore because with the new CBA, guys want to get their contracts up front on their extensions and get lockdown money so they don't have to worry about, hey, I got to go find it in free agency. And as a result of that, teams also, there are not a lot of teams out there with just a ton of cap space, right? You got the Lakers have a ton of cap space, the Nets have a ton of cap space, the Bulls to a certain degree. Beyond that, you really don't have it. And so what you see is sort of pre-agency now is super hot, where Austin Reeves already re-signed, right? Off the board.
Yeah.
Trae Young, Andrew Wiggins, Ayo Dosunmu. I just go down the list. Fred VanVleet, Kristaps Porzingis. All these guys are already off the list. So free agency was thin to begin with, and now it starts, and you're going, well, where's all the signings? And that's because a lot of these guys are already off the board, and the other guys, the big ones like LeBron James, he's going to take his time.
The other thing, too, is like you're waiting for guys to sign, but like think about all the trades that have already happened. So, yeah, it's free agency, sign a contract, change your teams. John just went through, that pretty brilliantly about the new NBA where it's like these guys, if you're just re-signing with the same team, the news breaks early. But, I mean, we're talking about Giannis, Kawhi, Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, Julius Randle, all been all-stars, all have been traded prior to tonight's free agency opening up. So the fact that all these guys are on new teams, a lot of these other teams are probably scrambling with the new landscape of the NBA. I also wonder how much, like, cracking down Adam Silver's maybe done on the pre-free agency tampering. Like, how many deals are probably done that are just being waited to be reported? I don't know, but I know that, like, when I was, a couple of years ago and free agency was still jumping and you're waiting for midnight so the clock changes and you get 7 deals right off the bat. I also don't know if there's that many free agents. Like LeBron's going to take his time. James Harden's probably going to wait for a LeBron decision. Or maybe James Harden makes a decision and that ignites the LeBron decision. And then there's Jaylen Brown. But outside of those 3 guys, how many other guys are we looking at?
I mean, that's really the thing, right? If you say LeBron's obviously the whole game right now, aside from trades. But if we're saying who's the next guy after LeBron that everybody's super interested in, and we're not talking about Jaylen Brown and other potential trades because you're absolutely right. We've had some banger trades so far.
Bangers.
You're looking at, is Walker Kessler the next guy? I love Peyton Watson. There's no bigger Peyton Watson guy than me. Is Peyton Watson the next guy? Is Norm Powell the next guy or John Collins? That's how far down we've fallen in free agency. It's really more about trades now and, of course, LeBron.
All right, well, speaking of LeBron, coming up, what are the chances the Warriors can land both LeBron and Anthony Davis? The Wizards say they aren't listening. Say what? Next on CBS Sports HQ.
About it. Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here. Nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's a gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves into have to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end. I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
The Warriors have big plans for the offseason. The dream scenario, having LeBron James and Anthony Davis join the franchise to steam up with Steph Curry and get Draymond Green back in the fold. So how the Warriors could add LeBron? What does that look like? And Anthony Davis? Well, include Jimmy Butler in a trade for Anthony Davis, send him to Washington, sign LeBron with a $15 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception if he takes that. Sign Draymond Green to the same deal as Porzingis, 2 years, $40 million, and trade Moses Moody. So that's what a potential deal could look like to get both LeBron and AD in Golden State. We'll see if that happens. All right, back here with John Gonzalez, Noah Buono, as we continue our NBA free agency special. And let's start from the Wizards standpoint. According to an ESPN report, Washington not interested in trading Anthony Davis, not listening to trade offers for him. Noah, do you believe them? What do you make of Washington's strategy here?
I don't believe him at all.
Okay.
There's nothing to believe there. If Anthony Davis wants out of Washington, he's not going to play it. He's not going to play a game there. Rich Paul obviously represents all these guys, LeBron, Draymond. If they are all in cahoots to try to go to the Golden State Warriors, it will happen. And I don't really think it's – I understand Washington's perspective, though, from a leverage standpoint. Like, can they get more out of a trade from the Warriors to give up Anthony Davis? But I ultimately don't think after paying Trae Young – they would want to pay Anthony Davis. But also, like, if I would have done it in reverse. I'd rather pay Anthony Davis than pay Trae Young. But because they already paid Trae, and this is all kind of brewing backdoor, like, I don't believe it one bit.
I think this is one of those situations where the Wizards doth protest too much. They say, no. We love Anthony Davis. You couldn't possibly pry him away from us. But hold on a second. Why don't you give us your best offer? Because that's really what this is about. Noah's absolutely right. The player empowerment era is not over. If he wants to go to Golden State, that's where he will end up. But this is really about what kind of compensation are the Wizards going to get. Because if I'm the Wizard, for all the reasons you just mentioned about giving Trae Young 4 years and $212 million, which I would not have done, I'm looking at my sheet right now going, oh, man, we owe Anthony Davis over $58 million this upcoming season. And then after that, he's got a player option for $62.7 million. And then after that, he's going to want a new deal tacked on to the back end of his career because he's going to be 35 after this current contract expires. I don't want to pay Anthony Davis that much money when he's played only 29 games since being traded from the Lakers. I mean, the guy, they call him street clothes for a reason. It's an apt nickname. He's an incredible player. It's not about talent. It is about availability, however. So if I'm the Wizards, I'm looking at this and going, yeah, give us your best offer. Let's see what we can do here. And maybe we can get Anthony Davis to the Bay Area where if he played, he'd look great alongside potentially LeBron and certainly Steph Curry. But yes, if I'm the Wizards, I want out of the Anthony Davis business.
Is it too much money to have AD be the mentor to AJ DeBonsa?
Because they got to pay him $58 million?
Yeah. No. Right? Because if AJ DeBonsa is your face of your franchise now, right? He goes #1 overall. You want those veterans like Trae Young, AD to take.
You want them in the building.
Exactly.
100%. The only thing is that if I'm Anthony Davis, I want to win a championship. I don't care about, at 33 years old, mentoring, what could be a future All-NBA guy. I have no interest in it. Last year, I would have had interest in it if I was Anthony Davis.
Because this is where he can get his most money.
Well, he can go get swapped with Jimmy Butler and still make the money.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about the whole extension thing because Anthony Davis is sort of in like a prove-it mode right now because of the injuries the last year and a half upon being traded to Dallas. What I would worry about if I was Anthony Davis is that I'm 33 years old and I want to win a championship. He said it. He's like, I want to experience the parade and feel, that aura and that energy of winning a championship when we're not in a global pandemic. And I don't blame him because that's the only one he's ever won. And last year, I actually thought if Kyrie Irving and the ACL never happened and things just didn't go completely chaotic in Dallas, I actually thought that Dallas team had a chance to make some serious noise. Again, everything is always injury dependent. So when I say these things, it is always with the asterisk of if they're healthy, of course. But Anthony Davis should want to win a championship. I think he does want to do that, and he's not doing that in Washington. He's not.
All right. In a scenario where Golden State pulls this off and the Wizards comply and they go, yeah, we'll make a deal here, how much of a threat does this foursome become in Golden State? LeBron James, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green.
And Kristaps.
And Kristaps Porzingis.
Don't. No, listen.
But no, that's fine. I'm just saying, I'm just talking about the four guys. But yes, that's good that you added that.
I'm throwing Kristaps out there because in the same way that you don't know if Anthony Davis is going to be available, you don't know if Kristaps Porzingis is going to be available. However, Kristaps Porzingis is a really good basketball player. And if you have him as your backup center to Anthony Davis, if both of those guys can get out there and play basketball, your rim protection is elite. I mean, you're immediately one of the best front courts. Now, you're smirking, and I'm going to say...
No, because I was going to say maybe they could just interchange who's hurt and who's not.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
That,
that's
at least
the
one of
problem
them's out there.
So when to your original question, like how much damage, how much impact could they have, the Western Conference is loaded. You're still behind the Thunder. You're still behind the Spurs. You might be behind the Nuggets, but I would say that you'd be right in that line, right? Like probably top 4 in the West, but it's all contingent on those guys being available. I mean, Steph didn't play a ton of games this past season, had some ankle issues. LeBron's going to be 42 years old. I mean, this is a super old team with a lot of injury histories. In theory, if they could pull this off. On paper, looks amazing. Would be absolute can't miss appointment viewing television every single night. Just from an entertainment perspective, I want this to happen because I would not miss a single Warriors game. I probably wouldn't anyway because you guys pay me to do this. But still, this
Thank you for saying that.
Yes,
no, we didn't know.
In exchange for the money, I will watch basketball. However, man, wouldn't this be an amazing way for those two guys to go out together?
So conflicting. Like, there's so many conflicting things here because, yes, on one hand, it would be awesome. It'd be so cool to see the reunion of LeBron and AD and then this, like, Avengers, like, the Olympics thing and these guys uniting in a Western Conference that is very Oklahoma City and San Antonio heavy. But the thing that just needs to be mentioned when you're talking about LeBron going to Golden State that I can't unsee is that he was competing against these guys 4 consecutive years for championships. He went 1-3. The Cavs went 1-3 in the NBA Finals versus the Golden State Warriors. And this very, very well may be just like I just want to play with my guys. I just want to play with my buddies. Like, and that could be all this is. There's just something wrong about picturing LeBron in a Golden State Warriors uniform, given the history.
That's tough.
And like going in, think about it. You're a Cavs fan.
Yep, that would be a tough look.
He wins you a championship, and then all of a sudden it's like he wins you a championship, but then he wants to finish his career and win another championship for the team that he lost 3 championships against. And I can't wrap my head around that because of what you're saying. It's going to be box office. It's going to be unbelievable ticket prices. Even take Anthony Davis out of it, it would be a cherry on top if he's on it. But watching Steph Curry and LeBron James play basketball on the same team over the course of an 82 regular season would be unbelievable. Basketball nirvana. But I just think that history of LeBron versus the Warriors and Steph and him hating each other. They hated each other during that run. The block shot in Game 6 and LeBron's looking back at him, talking his smack. Like, those things don't go away from basketball fans' memories that I can't pinpoint him in that jersey.
We suggested the movie Golden State of Mind. I'm going to suggest another movie, Enemy of the State, because that's what would happen in the state of Ohio. And if you are sitting here thinking that doesn't matter, Noah, to LeBron James about the way he's perceived, if his career ends in Golden State, joining the Warriors, a team that he went toe-to-toe with in the finals for several seasons, you don't think that's going to bother him? That's like if Michael Jordan went to the Detroit Pistons, right? Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, that's one of the things that could, I'm not saying ruin his legacy, tarnish his legacy. If you go to the Warriors, the team that you lost to a couple times in the finals.
If he wins a championship, it surely
I don't even, but even if
I don't think it tarnishes his legacy. I think it's a very weird
image. He's a big perception guy, right?
Sure.
He thinks about the way he's perceived in history, the way he's looked at. And to me, if he were to go to Golden State, that to me would be potentially a dent in his legacy.
He delivered the only championship to Cleveland in 50 years, and you're going to hold it against him because at age 42, he's going to go play with Steph Curry?
I don't write the rules.
I
don't make the rules.
You kind of did just try to write the rules. I'm going to say that I'm not sure that those are the rules, actually, now that I think about it, because at 41, going to be 42 years old, if his final wish in the NBA is to go play with Steph Curry, who he competed with, I don't think he hated him. I think they competed.
They were not friendly in that 2016
They were not friendly, but they are
finals.
very much
like
friends now, where they played in the Olympics together, won a gold
He
medal.
got Draymond Green suspended for a finals game
That's
in 2016.
over.
No. Draymond Green got himself suspended.
You know what I'm saying. Right. He got himself suspended in 2016. The Cavs come back from down 3-1.
That's 2 strikes on you for trying to tarnish LeBron James.
I'm not tarnishing.
You're trying to convince him to go back to Cleveland.
Look, no. Close up. Right here, one of these cameras. I am not tarnishing LeBron James.
Too many comments.
Don't go to Golden State.
But him going to Golden State is just a weird image in NBA history.
I'm telling you right now,
his legacy.
Look. I will never not be a fan of LeBron. He brought a title to Cleveland, right? It was a phenomenal moment in 2016, down 3-1, never happened before. But if he goes to the Warriors, along with other Cavaliers fans, we're going to feel some sort of way. We're going to be conflicted.
He's going to be 42.
We're going to be conflicted. You're saying just let him go.
Let him live his life.
When he could have come to Cleveland.
But you're also making the point that he cares about perception, and I think that if he cares about that and he wants to be somewhere he is loved, that's also why Cleveland makes the most sense. Because you just go back to where it all started.
Thank you.
That's why I think
at least he made the point for me.
This Golden State thing is an awesome fantasy land. This is like your fantasy basketball team. This is ultimate fantasy, like 2K team, 2K roster building. Incredible.
Though? There's a lot of old guys.
I think
there's going to be AARP night.
The storybook ending, we said it before, is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
All right. We'll see if that all happens. By the way, if LeBron and Steph team up, they'd have the most career points by a teammate, 2 teammates in NBA history. I mean, look at this. This is, 8 titles.
Well, it would also be something similar if he teamed up with James Harden.
Some gold medals.
Unfortunate.
This would be insane if this happened. This would be insane. LeBron and Steph on the same team. We saw it at the Olympics. They won gold. Can they win in Golden State? Coming up, much more ahead here on CBS Sports HQ. We've talked about LeBron to Golden State. We've talked about LeBron to Cleveland. We've talked about LeBron to Miami. What makes the most sense? That's all coming up here on CBS Sports HQ.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We'll break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
We'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end. I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
A crowd here
feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ as our NBA free agency special continues. LeBron has a new decision. King James informed the Lakers that he will be playing elsewhere next season. Future Hall of Famer spent the past 8 seasons in Los Angeles, leading the Lakers to a championship in 2020 in the bubble. 4-time MVP will be entering his record 24th season in the NBA. He turns 42 years old in December, looking for one more championship run. PGA Tour is looking for him to join their ranks. They said, we're waiting for you, Bron. It'd be interesting if he were to go and play on the PGA Tour. It'd be incredible. He's actually a pretty good golfer.
Is he?
He's not bad. I mean, he can't play at the PGA Tour level.
I heard he was pretty bad, but
I mean, he's not terrible. He's got a decent swing. I'm not saying he's gonna, you know, he probably would miss the cut in every event he played in. So, but
he's not playing with you, right? I mean, he's not your.
Oh, I'm a hack.
He's not
he's better than me. I'm a hack golfer. You're not a hack golfer. Back here with John Gonzalez, Noah Bono, as our conversation continues. We've got wall-to-wall coverage of NBA free agency. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You too can be part of the conversation. We're going to read some of your best comments here on the air. We continue with LeBron's new decision. And, John, your reaction to him leaving L.A., because at one point we thought probably just going to continue in L.A. and fade off into the sunset.
Yeah, I thought that was the most likely scenario, right? Because his business interests are in L.A., his kid plays for the Lakers, which, by the way, kudos to LeBron on waiting to tell the Lakers that he was going to leave until after Bronny James's contract became fully guaranteed. Chef's kiss on the family move there. But, 8 years in L.A. is a long time. I thought that he would maybe just finish out his career there. But clearly he's decided that's enough. He won a championship there. Yes, it was in the bubble, but still a championship is a championship. And now you open up these really interesting possibilities where does he go to the Warriors? Does he go back to your Cleveland Cavaliers for the 3rd time and finish it up there? I know that you want to hashtag let him know on that. And then the Heat now all of a sudden have come into the picture. And then Dark Horse also, the Wolves have made it known that they're interested in landing LeBron James. So yet another, it looks like we're headed for yet another decision summer of LeBron James where he's not going to rush this thing. I would seriously be surprised if anything happens tonight or maybe even tomorrow because as we all know, LeBron loves the attention on him and now he's got it.
Yeah, and I like the attention being on him. Year 24, and just think about the magnitude of like what this pre-free agency has been leading up to today. It's been pretty crazy, and then waiting on what LeBron was going to do or announce. And we don't even have a team announcement. We just have an announcement that, like, he's not playing for the Lakers, which, let me just say, I couldn't be more ecstatic that he will not be part of the Lakers. Like, I've been waiting for this. I thought it should have happened last summer. I thought he should have opted out of that deal, the $50+ million that he got this past year. I thought he should have opted out of that because I just feel like there was so much data and there was so many bridges burned behind the scenes with these guys, especially after that Russell Westbrook debacle that, yes, LeBron had a hand in, but ultimately Rob Pelinka pulled the trigger on. And every trigger Rob Pelinka pulled from that moment and beyond was quite frankly the wrong one until Luka Doncic was gifted to him. And I just think that LeBron leaving the Lakers after giving them a title and all the bashing from the fan base and then half the fan base accepting him and then the other half not accepting him and this is Kobe's team. It's like you guys were in basketball purgatory before LeBron James showed up. And then all of a sudden, you forget what gratitude means when he brings you a championship that the Lakers would have won regardless of the bubble. They were the best team in 2020. And then to win it under those circumstances, just because there's no fans and there's no travel, all of a sudden there's an asterisk next to it and it's a Mickey Mouse title. No, it's not.
Some would argue that title was the hardest for him to win.
And by the way, when they traded for Russell Westbrook, they were bad the first year with him. They were bad the next year with him until they traded him. And then they went to a conference finals with him and Anthony Davis and Darvin Ham, who proved that he wasn't the right guy for the job because it was all on LeBron's shoulder. And at time and time again, he proved to you, if you put the pieces around him, he knows what to do. And time again, I believe Rob Pelinka and the Lakers did not put the necessary pieces around him. And you know what proof I have? is that Jackson Hayes was on the roster with LeBron James. The New Orleans Pelicans didn't even want Jackson Hayes. But the Lakers thought, you know what? Former lottery pick. We'll give him a chance. No.
Your hatred of Jackson Hayes has reached dangerous levels.
It's just unbelievable malpractice.
Hey, Jackson Hayes is a big deal. If he gets injured, we come up with that here on CBS Sports HQ, right? Like, I'm not kidding you around. Like, he gets injured, we're coming up with that, and we're talking about what's the impact for that team.
You know why? Because they got nobody else in the front.
Well, I'm just telling you.
And that's
news.
DeAndre Ayton erasure. Right, and who had to opt into his $8 million deal because there's no market for the former #1 overall pick. And it's just like time and time again, you could go through the transactions, and the Lakers, to me, just didn't do right by LeBron. Post Russell Westbrook, I know they tried with the Westbrook trade, but post that trade, it didn't work out. And we will get more data with Rob Pelinka in that seat, who has to hire 2 assistant general managers because the Dodgers ownership group doesn't trust him to do the job alone. So he needs 2 guys in his back pocket to really help him. And we'll see what he does with Luka Doncic. Can he put a team around him? Because he's already wasted a year and a half of the Luka Doncic era.
Well, we got another guy to help us with this conversation. It's welcome back CBS Sports NBA writer, salary cap expert Sam Quinn. The LeBron era in LA is over. Sam, the Luka era continues. What's next for the Lakers and how they proceed here?
They are looking for a center, and I imagine they are looking under every rock they can find to try to get that guy. The 2 big names out there right now are both restricted free agents. Walker Kessler with the Utah Jazz, who the Lakers have been linked to forever. He is an imposing rim protector, great rebounder, not so much an offensive player, but he's also never played with a real point guard in Utah. Luka would help on that front. And then the other option is Jaylen Brown, the restricted free agent out of the Detroit Pistons, all-NBA player last season. There seems to be a disconnect between him and the Pistons. He's meeting with the Kings. He's doing everything in his power to drum up a max offer because the Pistons do not seem eager to give him one. This could go in one of a few ways. The Lakers could just throw a max offer sheet at one of those guys and dare their teams to match it. They could offer one of those teams a sign and trade. You'd probably have to give up picks, but you could at least get that guy on a somewhat more favorable contract. Where they're at right now, they have around $51 million in cap space. The max for either of those 2 is around $41 million. You could talk about throwing another $10 million at another player, use the cap room mid-level exception around $9 million. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that they've added 2 free agents into those 2 slots tonight, and then the center situation drags on for the next several days, maybe even into next week when the moratorium ends on July 6th.
Don't you think, though, John, and we've had this conversation before, but now here for this show, teams are going to be a little hesitant with Jaylen Brown. Great in the regular season, not so great in the playoffs with Detroit. Like, if I'm the Lakers and I'm trying to win with Luka, right, in his prime years, is that the guy you want to pair him with?
Yeah, it's dangerous because on the one hand, he had a phenomenal regular season, right?
Phenomenal.
Last offseason, he wanted $30 million per, and the Pistons balked at it. And that would have been a bargain now in retrospect. So they say no, he bets on himself, he goes into the season, and he wins that bet. He makes All-NBA. During the regular season, he looked phenomenal. He was a key reason, along with Cade Cunningham, why the Pistons were atop the Eastern Conference all season long. And then in the postseason, it was disastrous. Noah and Sam and I were on HQ a ton with you, watching him in the first couple of rounds, and he got outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr. You get outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr. No disrespect to Wendell Carter. He gave a full effort in that Magic series. But when you're an All-NBA candidate and you get outplayed by Wendell Carter, for your money. So now all of a sudden this offseason, he's eligible because of that All-NBA for 5 years and $287 million. Not getting anywhere close to that. And then he goes, okay, well, I wanted 30 last year. How about we go 40 per? Sounds like the Pistons don't want to do that either. And so to Sam's point, maybe the Lakers do throw a bag at him and see if the Pistons just let him walk. I would be, a little bit concerned about that because at 22, look, it's only one postseason, but it was a big one for him, and he came up really small. So if the Lakers go that way, you're kind of crossing your fingers. But they've been linked to just about everybody, right? Sandro Mamukelashvili, Dean Wade, Tari Eason, Peyton Watson, Quentin Griffin. You name somebody, they've been linked to him, including Jaylen Brown.
I think the Pistons would be very regretful 5 years from now if they let Jaylen Brown walk. Now, I'm not saying pay him $40 million, but he's 22 years old, and he's really good at basketball. And these big guys are not easy to come by at the talent level that Jaylen Brown has proven to be at. 19 points a game, 10 rebounds, 65% from the floor. I understand the playoff woes. It was one postseason. He's actually fairly good in their first ever postseason run last year when they took the Knicks to 6 games. And, he ran into a couple walls. He lost his confidence earlier. It was hard to get back. Once the Pistons establish who their secondary scorer is out on the perimeter, Jaylen Brown's life is going to become a lot easier. if I'm the Lakers, throw as much money as you can at him because he's the perfect fit, near perfect fit for what a Luka Doncic-led team needs in that front court. But if I'm the Pistons, I would not let Jaylen Brown walk out the door. And I know the money is a little bit skewed because John mentioned the All-NBA stuff. And I do think, with that being said, because this is a two-sided relationship, Jaylen Brown's got to be a little bit more self-aware here and take some better advice. At like, hey, man, you're not worth $40 million. I know that you're allowed to get 40, but you're not worth 40. And he should come to terms with that, sign for a deal that helps the Pistons, and stay with the team that drafted him, given there's no real bad blood here. And I do think that he is the perfect running mate to run with Cade Cunningham over the next decade.
The bad blood, I'm not sure about that,
but is he creating the bad blood,
well, the Pistons, I mean, last year, again, last offseason, the Pistons could have gone and locked him up for 30 per, and they said, nah, we don't think you're worth that much. You want to go out there and find that money? Go ahead and try to do that. And then right now, he's trying to find more money. This is what that is really about. When they're saying to him, not only we're not going to give you the max contract that you potentially earned because you made All-NBA, we don't want to give you the $200 million in the 40 per because we don't think you're worth that either, even at 22. So there's enough bad blood that he's now agitating for a move to possibly even Sacramento, where when I said to you that Kawhi Leonard is the first guy who ever forced his way into Toronto, Jaylen Brown would be the first guy in NBA history to force his way to Sacramento. So, yes, a little bit of bad blood.
That would be career purgatory. Do we have time to go back to the Lakers' needs here really quick?
Go for it.
You know what they need?
Tell me.
LeBron. And they don't want
That's not happening.
I know it's not happening, but the reason that it's worth mentioning is because the fact that these guys were so adamant that, like, we're just done here. I would go on the record and say that I would be very surprised if Rob Pelinka or whoever ends up being the GM 5 years from now is able to find a teammate that is as good or better than year 22 and year 23 LeBron that Luka just played with. And not re-signing LeBron to come back to this team that won 53 games in a loaded Western Conference will prove to be a mistake because no matter who they get in free agency, Jaylen Brown, throw Norman Powell, whoever they grab, will not stack up and add the impact and the value that LeBron James adds to that team. Simple.
Well, they had that scenario in Dallas, right? Luka had a guy named Jalen Brunson to play with, and what did he do? He won an NBA championship. So they missed that pretty badly there in Dallas. There is news. Mark J. Spears reporting the Pistons have offered what the franchise believes is the most lucrative contract possible for their all-star restricted free agent. Not interested in any sign and trade deals and will match any potential offer sheet he signs. So we're going to keep an eye on that report for Mark J. Spears. Appreciate that. Still ahead here on CBS Sports HQ. LeBron and Steph won gold together. Can they win in Golden State? That's next on CBS Sports HQ.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's a gangster now? Family does not leave family behind.
Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know, or it gets more complicated.
Family, that's the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end. I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars. What a difference she has made.
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, Hakeem Dermish alongside CBS Sports HQ NBA analyst John Gonzalez. Noah Buono also joining us in a moment will be CBS Sports NBA writer Sam Quinn, also a salary cap expert here in the NBA. And we are more than 2 hours into NBA free agency, John, and haven't had a whole lot to discuss in terms of free agents aside of LeBron and the trade that Kawhi Leonard is headed back to Toronto. What do you make of the lack of moves here?
Yeah, this is kind of the new NBA with the new CBA, and Sam's going to explain that in a second here. But we get, instead of all that fun player movement that we used to get, now guys want their money locked up beforehand, and if they're going to change teams, then it's going to happen through generally trades. We've seen a whole bunch of trades, right? Giannis and LaMelo and Kawhi. These are big names getting moved.
Yep.
Ja Morant, Julius Randle. But that's how player movement kind of happens now, because players want their money up front. And so what we get instead of free agency is sort of pre-agency, where a lot of these guys, and Sam did an awesome list, top 40 free agents that you can check out on CBSSports.com. But a lot of these names are already off the board, right? Austin Reeves already got his money. Trae Young got his money. Andrew Wiggins, Ayo Dosunmu, Fred VanVleet, Kristaps. I know that you hated that Kristaps deal, 2 for 40. But when we were sitting here in the break and we're like, okay, well, the whole ballgame is always going to be LeBron James. After LeBron James, who's the next most interesting name? And we're landing on Walker Kessler, Peyton Watson, who I love.
Jalen Duren.
Right? Jalen Duren for sure.
His
Maybe a
situation.
Norm Powell. That's kind of what what you're going to expect with free agency moving forward. It's not our old free agency. This is the new reality.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the trades. Is Jaylen Brown going to get moved? Is Jamal Murray going to get moved? Like, there's just all those rumblings, like all the guys that already got traded, Ja Morant and Kawhi Leonard, you know, most notably recently. Obviously, the big one with Giannis. I think this is less about who is the free agent going to sign with and more about who are these all-NBA caliber players going to be traded to, because I don't think we're done with the trade stuff going on.
You think Denver wants to get out of the Murray business?
I don't think they want to, nor do I think they should, but I think that, you know, their owner made it very clear, like, everybody's on the chopping block besides Nikola Jokic. He said that after they lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And so when someone says that, I take it at face value that I think that, yeah, the Nuggets roster really was put to a halt this postseason versus a Timberwolves team that was not better than them and was playing completely injury depleted. So I think it's a fair
open for
test.
business. Open for business. All right, let's bring back Sam Quinn. Sam, open for business, and we're more than 2 hours into NBA free agency. Not a lot has happened. How would you explain the lack of moves here?
So think about the first time LeBron James became a free agent in 2010. LeBron was a free agent. Dwayne Wade was a free agent. Chris Bosh was a free agent. Amari Stoudemire was a free agent. There were star free agents all over the place. Well, since LeBron went to Miami, the league has slowly changed the rules in regard to free agency, mostly relating to contract extensions, because the league wants players to re-sign with their original teams, in part as a response to LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh obviously making their super team in Miami. At that point in league history, you could only get a 7.5% extension when you extended with your team. That has slowly trickled up to 20% in the 2017 CBA, up to 40% in the current CBA. So what does that mean? Now that it is easier to get contract extensions with your original team, more and more players are just extending before they ever get to free agency, guaranteeing their money in advance. teams are seeing that and saying, if there are going to be fewer free agents, then we're going to preserve less cap space. And free agents are seeing that and saying, well, there's less cap space out there. Why do I want to be a free agent? Let me re-sign. It's a vicious cycle that has really eaten into what free agency once was to kind of the husk that we have now, where there are a handful of decent role players out there, maybe some nice restricted free agents, just because those guys have a little bit more of a complicated situation with the match rights. Teams have so many advantages in retaining those players, but free agency just is not what it was back then. Right now, I think the big holdup is that the teams with cap space, most notably the Lakers, but a couple of the other ones as well, are mostly interested in those restricted free agents. For the Lakers, it's Walker Kessler and Jalen Duren. For the Clippers, it might be Peyton Watson. We don't know what the Nets are up to, but those guys are on a clock. Because they're restricted, they can sign offer sheets, but the clock for the teams to match those offer sheets doesn't start until the end of the moratorium on July 6th. So everybody's kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see where are the Lakers going to spend their money, where are the Nets going to spend their money, where are the Bulls going to spend their money, where are the Clippers going to spend their money. When we have more of an idea of where those cap space teams are going, maybe then we'll start to get more of a trickle on some of these other moves.
Sam, do you think the NBA is against super teams?
I think Adam Silver has been pretty direct in saying that he doesn't, I don't know if he's ever used parity as the word,
right,
but if well managed, he wants every team to believe that they have a chance to compete for a championship. And the proof is kind of in the pudding here, right? We've now had 8 years where we've had 8 different champions. The Spurs right now are arguably the favorite to win next year, which would make us 9 for 9. The last couple of collective bargaining agreements have pushed the NBA in this direction, where keeping a championship team together is harder than it has ever been. Every year we see one of these teams win the title and combat the aprons afterward. The Knicks right now apparently don't want to go into the second apron. If that's the case, they're probably going to lose Mitchell Robinson, and it's going to be harder for them to repeat as champions. The Thunder are dealing with the aprons right now. The Celtics had to trade half of their rotation from the 2024 title team last offseason. Keeping a championship team together is harder than it has ever been. Therefore, it's harder than ever to build a dynasty.
I think, John, and I appreciate the perspective that Sam is offering here because it's spot on. Mm-hmm. When you think about super teams and what it helped create in the NBA, more ticket sales, more jersey sales, more eyeballs on the league, right? I think super teams, they can be good, they can be bad. But here we are right now talking about a potential super team in Golden State with a bunch of old guys, and maybe that this delay and LeBron saying he's going to take his time, maybe this is a thing where, again, we don't know the conversations behind closed doors. Hey, slow it down a little bit before we venture into this next super team that you decide to join.
A little conspiracy, Akeem. I really enjoy this about
Just trying to ask the questions that fans are thinking.
Well, no, I mean, look, the NBA, Sam and I were talking about this recently, where the NBA finals wrap up, and people will say to you, oh, congrats, the season's over. The season's not over. The season's starting now, right? Now, all of a sudden, we call it the silly season, right? Because all these trades happen where Giannis and Kawhi and LaMelo and Ja and all these big names. People love the offseason, and I understand why Adam Silver wants parity, whether he calls it or not. Because for me, I really enjoyed the teens Warriors run for a time.
Yeah.
But after a while, you knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to be at the end of the season. The regular season's 82 games. Why are we even playing it? Because at the end of the season, it's going to be the Warriors and it's going to be LeBron. And maybe LeBron could win one, and he did. But it's probably going to be the Warriors because they're too dominant. I find this way more interesting. And, yes, we're not getting as much movement in free agency, but give me 8 different champions in 8 years, and potentially, as Sam mentioned, 9 next year with the Spurs being the favorites, over that all day long. And yes, we have to wait a little bit to find out what LeBron might do, and maybe we'll get another super team. I'll take no super teams over super teams every day. Parity.
I am not anti-parity by any means, but I am anti this new wave of Adam Silver in the NBA being anti-dynasty. Because, that's what sports are about. I just think that
I want to see greatness.
The way that you get the way that you get these stars in the building and on your TV set that become just appointment viewing, where you're like, oh, LeBron's in the finals? Well, I'm watching that. And all of a sudden, this viewership number just gets jacked up. The only way that happens is if you bring a guy to the table that is going for ring number 5. And Steph Curry in 2022 makes this, I wouldn't call it improbable, but a run to the finals without Kevin Durant, and they win a 4th championship and they're second with one before KD, one without KD after. And I just think that those moments. Go. You know what? I'm going to pause.
No,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
'Cause I can't look at you in my peripheral with this. Just jump in.
I'm sorry. Aren't you the same guy that I sat on the desk with when the New York Knicks won the first championship in 53 years? You're that guy. You're saying you'd rather have a dynasty than have the Knicks win a championship?
The Knicks are about to start.
Because the guy who looked just like you was pretty excited about that.
So, okay, but those are two separate things because like we're talking about this new NBA, the parity era, and I'm elated that the New York Knicks were able to grab a title and go out there and win one while this is happening. Well, let me throw something at you. We're already in the era where every star in the NBA is going to walk away 10 years from now, and they're all going to have one championship. Jokic has one, Tatum has one, Giannis has one, Brunson has one, SGA has one. Who's next? Ant, Halliburton, Wemby. I'm missing Cade. All these guys are going to run away with one title. Who's going to be the guy that gets the second one? The second championship that comes for one of these guys that already has one is going to be an unbelievable legacy boost because we're in an era where nobody can win a second one. And to me, that's never what the NBA has been about. Pause. I'm not a traditionalist, but. With that being said, there is a part of the traditional NBA where dynasties are just vital to the league. Michael Jordan has built his entire GOAT status off being 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals. The debate with LeBron is he's been to 10 NBA Finals and he's only won 4. He's punished for getting to 6. You're talking about how you were tired towards the end of the Golden State and Cleveland run because you knew at the end of the year that's what it was going to be. And now we're in an era where we can't find anybody that can even get back to it. The Oklahoma City Thunder were the first team to win a championship that even got to the conference finals. The previous 7 championships couldn't even get out of the second round. But we're throwing shade at the Cavs and the Warriors for the Warriors getting their 5 years in a row, LeBron getting their 8 years in a row with I just think when you look at the history, you're a basketball historian. Look at the history of basketball. We're not going to walk away from this generation and go, well, that guy didn't get a ring. That guy didn't. Like Karl Malone, James Harden, John Stockton, you can go through the line of the guys that are just not going to win a championship, and that matters. Charles Barkley. We might enter an era where all these guys win a ring, and they all have one, and it's like, great, cool. Who won the second one? Where's the next guy? Like Larry Bird had 3, Magic had 5, LeBron has 4, Curry has 4. Who's gonna win another? So I'm not saying I need a dynasty, but I do need someone to win a second. I do. I think we all do. I think Hakeem really does.
I do. I mean, look, that's a far cry, a dynasty in Cleveland. I don't know that that'll ever happen, but I mean, hey, there's always hoping. There's hope springs eternal. LeBron could come back to Cleveland and win another championship.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yes.
Well, John, I want you to answer
this.
Okay. Hakeem, you can answer.
I thought you were going to ask me some deep question about Cleveland.
I'm just curious, who are going to be the guys 5-10 years from now that we're propping up, like Anthony Edwards, he could win a championship.
Wemby.
Wemby, of course. SGA already has one, but who are going to be these guys that we look at 5-10 years from now and we go, oh man, he was never able to get one.
That's the next guy, right? Anthony Edwards is the next guy.
Okay.
To get a title. If you want to hand out a title or you think that, hey, the next guy in line to get one, it's Anthony Edwards.
Let me just add this because I know how things get aggregated. I'm not saying that winning a championship is easy. That's not what I'm saying.
It's not a participation trophy, as one person said in the media recently.
No, and I
thought was offensive.
I just think that it's not easy by any means. What I'm saying is it's become harder than ever to win one and to win another one. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that has a lot to do with the players as much as it has to do with how these front offices are being told that they can build their teams, because the first apron and the second apron, they're really soft, hard caps, in some way, shape, or form. And I just think that it's a credit to those guys that we just saw. The cap was 2020 when LeBron got there and won his 4th championship, where we just haven't seen, think about Nikola Jokic in the all-time GOAT conversation or the all-time rankings. He would be in top 10 in everybody's list objectively, but everybody's going to go back to, but he only has 1 championship. But in any other era, Nikola Jokic would win multiple championships. And you look at where he got started in the timeline of when it really started to pick up for him, and I just think it's unfortunate because that's what that's the opposite side of what the parity era is bringing to us basketball fans.
It's always about when you win your title, right? Because they'll say, they won their titles against plumbers and, substitute teachers. Well, it's all about when you play, right? Yeah, that too. Sometimes it's all about when you win your titles. Well, speaking of champions, coming up, what's next for the reigning NBA champion Knicks? We're going to talk about that coming up. We'll break it down here on CBS Sports HQ as you look at the notable free agents right now. The big one on the board, LeBron James. He's not going to New York. He's going to either go to Golden State, Miami, or Cleveland. Coming up, we're going to talk about what's next for the Knicks.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone cold killer.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know, or it gets more complicated.
Family, that's the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
It was a moment 53 years in the making. The New York Knicks ending the longest gap between titles in NBA history. Finals MVP Jaylen Brown and the Nova Knicks defeated Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs in 5 games. Knicks in 5, you heard it here first. Back here with John Gonzalez, Noah Bono, and we will welcome in Sam Quinn as well. New York turns its sights towards a repeat, but Knicks owner James Dolan said they are not going into the second apron, which carries heavy fines and penalties. And let's welcome in Sam, CBS Sports NBA writer, salary cap expert. Sam, what does this mean in terms of roster construction and replacing Mitchell Robinson here?
Yeah, essentially, if they're committed to not going into the second apron next season, Mitchell Robinson's not going to be on the team, at least based on the market that we presume he's going to have. He's expected to get offers around that full mid-level of $15 million. The Knicks are far above that, or at least they have less room than that underneath that second apron. Now, something you could potentially do if you're the Knicks, if you're willing to go into the second apron for 1 year, you do have some options for the 2027-28 season. Karl Anthony Towns has a player option. It's at the Supermax. Could he decline that, maybe extend at a lower number? Josh Hart has a team option for the 2027-28 season. Could you decline that, get him re-signed at a lower number? Maybe you duck into the second apron for 1 year, go back under for the 27-28 season, season. The worst impacts of the second apron come when you're in there for 3 years. That's when you have a first-round pick tucked all the way down to number 30 at the end of the first round. I think that's something that the Knicks would like to avoid. But if the second apron is functionally a hard cap for them next season, unless they find a way to shed salary, and I am not seeing an easy one, it seems unlikely that Mitchell Robinson would be back.
When you hear the owner of the team say, we're not going into the second apron, which you want to abide by the rules for sure, right? But as a fan, don't you want to hear your owner say, we're going to do whatever it takes to compete for another title, and we have to stay below it, but don't you want to be aggressive here? Because it almost sounds like he's content with winning one, we're good.
Yeah, he called it the second apron suicide.
Right.
And for all the reasons that Sam just outlined, I mean, it's so prohibitive. Maybe, as Sam said, they could do it for 1 year and then duck back out. You definitely don't want to do it for multiple years. You certainly don't want to do it for 3 years because, as Sam said, then your pick gets frozen towards the back of the first round. You end up at number 30. You don't want that. But you did just win a championship. So I think that maybe this is a little bit of James Dolan going, well, I bought myself some goodwill here. And not only do I not want to go into the second apron for team building purposes, but I probably don't want to dip into it for my pocket because it's also cost prohibitive for me. But yes, the second that, as Sam mentioned and eloquently outlined, basically the second that they brought back, to a lesser extent, Jose Alvarado, to a greater extent, Landry Shamet, the chances of them keeping Landry Shamet and Mitchell Robinson became pretty slim, right? Because Mitchell Robinson, Sam pegged it at around $15 million per year for what he's looking at. That's exactly right. Robert Williams from the Portland Trailblazers, who's sort of like a Mitchell Robinson avatar in a lot of different ways in that he protects the rim and he's a backup big, 3 for 44 out in Portland. That's about the ballpark that you're going to get if you're Mitchell Robinson. You're happy to get it. It's probably not going to be in New York. And if you're a New York Knicks fan, then you probably don't want to see Mitchell Robinson leave town. But there's a reason why all of a sudden they're making googly eyes at a guy like Kevon Looney, who Kevon Looney could be your backup center, and he's going to cost a lot less money.
Yeah, I'm okay off that. I'm okay off that. I want them to go into the second apron, and I want Mitchell Robinson to be on the team because they won a championship, and he was a huge part of it, whether he played 19 minutes a game or not. If they didn't win the title, it would be a different story, but because they won the title, even though all of those prohibitive measures that occur when you go into the second apron, you won the championship. What do you have to lose if you go in the second apron? Your roster is your roster. This is the team that won it for you. Retain the guys that helped you win it, that core 7 or 8 in that starting lineup, and then those few bench guys with re-signing Shamet and Alvarado. And you got to bring back Mitch. He's been a huge part of the team behind Cat when Cat goes out, and then being able to play him alongside Cat when they need to. I just don't think, like, James Dolan is worth $2 billion. Like, what are we talking about? Money should not be the issue. It's like, I agree.
He's talking about spending his money is what he's talking about.
Spend his money. He's owned the team for 27 years, and he's put the franchise in literal hell before this past year and the arrival of Jaylen Brunson, like, to lead them to this point. So I don't really think Knicks fans want to go backwards because James Dolan wants to save a couple pennies. Like, if it's more about the roster construction,
pennies for him.
It's a lot of pennies.
Leon Rose thinks that this is more about, like, hey, we don't want to be limited and we do want to have some flexibility with some of our team building. I trust him way more than I trust James Dolan. But if it's more about, like, just not wanting to go in the second apron because James Dolan said so, I think that's the wrong move here because I think Mitchell Robinson is that important to the New York Knicks.
He said, what do you have to lose? You have a lot to lose, though, in terms of what the
we already won the title.
What the second apron restricts you, and Sam can tick them all off, but you can't aggregate salary. You lose access to various exceptions. The buyout market. I mean, Sam, what are the other restrictions for the second apron? I mean, it's a ton, and as Sam mentioned, it's also that draft pick if you're 3 years in a row that gets frozen at the back end. But before that, there's a whole bunch of other things that happen.
Sam, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, second apron. What you can't do. First of all, your first round pick 7 years out is frozen. It doesn't move to the back of the first round until you've done it 3 years out of 5. But that first year, it's frozen and you can't trade it. You can't use the taxpayer mid-level. You can't aggregate salary. You can't trade cash. And you have all of the first apron restrictions on top of that, which mean you can't take in more money than you send out in a trade. You can't use the full mid-level. And on the buyout market, you can only sign players whose previous salary was below the mid-level exception. So it makes it substantially harder to change your team to add talent externally. But what the aprons don't really do, unless you trigger a hard cap by violating one of those restrictions, you can keep your own players. The Knicks do have full bird rights on Mitchell Robinson. If they want to re-sign him, they have the capacity to do so.
What's it going to take to re-sign him? How much money are we talking here?
I'm going to say $15 million per year. Now, maybe you could go a little bit higher in the first year, do a shorter term deal. The other option that the Knicks have that other teams don't, and you might have to, hold your nose before you do this. They can give him a 5-year deal if they want. They do have full bird rights. The reason I bring that up is that maybe you want to keep his salary lower this year, like agree to a total amount of money and say, we're just going to spread it over the longest possible period. Maybe that's the way you do it. The full mid-level, it's over $60 million. The Knicks could spread that over a longer period. The back end would be ugly, and you do have to watch out for the giant contract I assume Jaylen Brunson is going to get in a couple of years. I don't know how well that's going to age, but you owe it to him after the discount that he took. So there are a number of ways the Knicks could go about this, but the number I would peg this as is that $15 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception in the first year of the deal can go out 4 years for other teams. For the Knicks, they can pay him anything up to the max, up to 5 years.
You know what, Sam? We're lucky to have you, by the way, because you could be working in an NBA front office right now, helping make moves. So thank you for that perspective and laying out, because a lot of this stuff for fans is so difficult to understand. But the way Sam lays it out, it's you can consume it and you can go, okay, I get that. That makes sense.
Because every time you hear those penalties with the second apron, if you're not instantly reminded at how bad of a job the NBA Players Association did at negotiating this, I don't know what else you're thinking about, because those penalties are absurd. They are ridiculous. It is anti-team building. It's just like I understand why James Dolan and Leon Rose may not want to do that to go retain Mitchell Robinson. I think the point I said about why not, what do you have to lose, is because they already won the title. So there's no additional pressure. You go on the second apron and you put, to me, if anything, that's just more of a message to your fan base. We're going all in again, guys. Like, we're just going to do this. We already won the title. Let's try to do it again with this exact core. We don't really need to switch much up here. But hearing Sam lay that out, number one, amazing job, because yes, it does simplify things a lot for us, people listening. But it also is just like kind of concerning that that's where the NBA is. Bird rights, apron it. Like, it's just like, guys, can we just build a team here?
You know what?
I mean, come on.
This is a great point about how inaccessible and how dense it is for the average fan, because we get paid to do this. Sam and I talk about this all the time. I think that I understand most of this stuff better than like 99% of people.
Sure.
Sam's the extra 1%.
Yep.
Sam's the guy I go to when I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, I got to check this. Is this right? Like the vagaries and how dense this thing is. But to your point about team building, yes, it's prohibitive about team building because they wanted to prevent owners from simply buying a super team, from the Steve Ballmers of the world just deciding, okay, I can throw out $1 zillion and it's never going to affect me, because we talk about pennies, it's pennies to them, it's real dollars to the rest of us. But yes, my guy Sam, somebody hire Sam.
Do you think that this happening, like what we had in the NBA where a billionaire could buy a super team versus all these measures that have to be factored in when building a team, like, if you're building a team, Sam, if you're building a team, like, what are you? There's no way you're opting for this. There's no way you're opting for these aprons, right? Like, I'm going the other way. Like, I'd rather see the super teams, the dynasties that we're talking about, than have to deal with any of this and even converse about it. Because there's no way that NBA fans that listen to those average NBA fans, right? We're all nerds. We're studying this. We're trying to learn it.
There's nerds watching us, though.
But even the nerds watching it, there's an element to just the average NBA fan that when they see a trade go down, they go, well, why is it? And it's not just as simple as when Myles Garrett gets traded to the Los Angeles Rams. Like, yeah, he just got traded to the Rams. That's it. There's nothing else to it. He just got traded to the Rams. There's not a bird right. There's not an apron. There's not a money factor. It's just he's on the Rams.
My kid is sad, though.
My
kid is sad.
The NBA has turned itself into, you kind of have to have an advanced degree from like MIT
You're right.
to get a lot of this
Which
stuff.
I'm not smart enough for.
Me neither. Me neither. And from that, maybe the Knicks will just have all 5 of their starters play all 48 minutes, because all 5 of the Knicks starters are under contract for at least next season. Yeah, that was Tom Thibodeau era. Now it's the Mike Brown era. Coming up here on CBS Sports HQ, the Knicks, look, they're going to try to repeat. That's what they're going to try to do. We haven't seen a repeat champion since the Warriors here. We've had 8 different champions in 8 different years. So, yeah, that's pretty cool for those franchises, but when will we see a dynasty return? Coming up, the Spurs were once a dynasty, and they've got the guy to build one, Victor Wembanyama, the offseason outlook for the Spurs. That's next on CBS Sports HQ.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody Nobody seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me.
You are a stone-cold killer.
1, 2,
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
I'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end.
I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, millions of people weighing in on LeBron James' future, one of them being a former teammate who won a title with LeBron in 2020. And he posed this question: should LeBron go to the Spurs? I think he wins 2 more if he goes. What do y'all think? So like a 44-year-old LeBron James? Okay. All right. No. Come back to Cleveland, LeBron. I don't want to see you go to San Antonio. All right, we're back here on CBS Sports HQ. Hakeem Dermish alongside John Gonzalez, Noah Buono, and Sam Quinn alongside as well. What do you think of that idea? Dwight Howard says LeBron should go to the San Antonio Spurs.
Generally don't agree with Dwight Howard on most things. Agree with Dwight Howard on this one. This is something that Sam Quinn and I were kicking around post losing to the Knicks, where, you know, Noah, you had said previously that they need front court help, and you can slot LeBron in anywhere. That you have to deal with that Fox contract and get off of that money somehow. But if you could all of a sudden turn some of that money into dangling in front of LeBron, and you'd have Wemby, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, and then probably Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie, who's super underrated, goes to the bench. It bolsters that. LeBron can play with anyone, anywhere. I would love this. And if we're talking about, you're shaking your head at me because you want him to go to Cleveland.
No, because I also don't want to see Wemby get help from a legend. I want if Wemby wins a title, I want him to do it with the guys he's got on the roster. Maybe add a couple more pieces. But no, I don't want Wemby, as an NBA fan, I don't want Wemby to go, yeah, I won a title thanks to LeBron. No, I want him to do it on his own.
He almost did it on his own.
I know, but not with an all-time great.
It takes a village, right?
It does.
I mean,
You're right. It does.
These
It does
things,
take a village.
What happened with the Golden State Warriors when they were already a super team, and then here comes Kevin Durant. If you can't beat him, join him, right? Hey, LeBron James at the end.
He was older, though.
If you bring in LeBron James, how many more years does he have left? Not to say, and you were yelling earlier about who's going to get their second championship. You bring in LeBron James, you get the one championship.
Maybe it'll be Jaylen
He goes
Brunson.
off, he retires, and then Wemby gets gets his second championship later on.
That'd be great because LeBron would just get his 5th. That's how.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking about it from the Wemby perspective, which is fair. But all in all, everything John laid out makes sense. He fits the Spurs perfectly. Do I think he wants to live in San Antonio, Texas? No.
He doesn't have to live there.
I would leave it.
He can just get an apartment.
This NBA season is about 7
right, you're
8
only
months.
there half of the season anyway, right?
Yeah. So, all right, Sam, how does this work? LeBron James to San Antonio.
I keep saying these same words over and over again. It is the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, $15 million. You know, the Spurs had some paths to sign in trades, maybe some cap space before re-signing Julian Champagnie and Harrison Barnes. Now you're looking at that full mid-level number at $15 million. But the benefits to this financially for the Spurs, why would you keep De'Aaron Fox after the finals that he had? The reason is Dylan Harper was just a rookie. As good as he looked, do you really want to put the offense in the hands of a rookie, or at least next year, a second-year player? You want that veteran organizer on your team. LeBron James qualifies as a veteran organizer, and he's power forward sized. They did not have a power forward sized player on last year's team. Why did they lose the NBA Finals? Because they couldn't generate good shots late in games. What does LeBron do? He generates good shots late in games, early in games, at any point in games. I think the fit is fantastic. He obviously has a mutual admiration with Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich obviously not coaching the team anymore, but still in that building. Now, the one thing I will point out before we start making De'Aaron Fox fake trades, he does share an agent with LeBron. It's Rich Paul for both of them. I don't know how Rich Paul would feel about sending LeBron to San Antonio and then maybe shipping De'Aaron Fox out. You could figure the De'Aaron Fox situation out down the line. If you bring in LeBron and you win a championship, that probably raises Fox's trade value next year. That 4-year, $221 million contract extension, sort of an anvil hanging over San Antonio's head as those younger guys start to get paid. What did we just talk about in the last segment, though? How hard it is to build a dynasty, how hard it is to sustain a team. The Spurs are as well positioned to do that as any team in the NBA, aside from that Fox contract. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, all still on rookie deals. You can afford to keep those guys together for a long time. They have accumulated all of these extra draft assets, primarily in the forms of swaps. Most notably, they have a double swap in 2030 with the Mavericks and Timberwolves, potentially very valuable. As we've been saying this entire show, those picks in the 2030s are great. They have a swap with Sacramento in 2031. History says swapping with Sacramento is a pretty good place to be. The Spurs are set up to be as sustainable of a championship contender as it is possible to build in the NBA. They're going to be great for a long, long time. But LeBron could get them over the hump next year, get that 5th ring, maybe as Dwight Howard said, get that 6th ring as well. I would even argue going 6-6 in the finals more impressive than going 6-0. Take that, Michael Jordan.
Gosh darn it. Sam Quinn just sold me on LeBron to San Antonio.
I knew I loved Sam
Quinn.
No. Okay? And if there is one team in the NBA that is an immediate plug and play and they would become a championship favorite, not contender, they would be the favorite if LeBron joined, it would be the San Antonio Spurs. And I think Sam Quinn might have just sold me. I think I might have been sold.
Also, you want to know why he's I'm sold too, and I also think it pulls at my heartstrings as a father. I think about him mentoring that young team, you know, going to mentor Wemby, going to mentor De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle, and Dylan Harper, who he knows his father real well.
I'm old enough
It's also a good story. It's a good story.
I'm old enough to remember mere moments ago when a guy who looks just like you was screaming about, I don't want Wemby to win his championship all by himself.
But Sam just sold me
Sam gives you a couple magic words, he whispers in your ear, and now all of a sudden LeBron
I'm
James
human. What do you want from me? I'm a human being. I'm emotional.
Okay, see, this is what I'm saying.
Tantalizing.
You have come around to the position.
I mean, if it's not Cleveland, look. If it's not Cleveland, San Antonio, fine.
Okay.
If it's not Cleveland, there we go.
Okay. I think the Spurs had the 4th best odds to land LeBron James. If you want to, you know, it was like minus 500 for the Warriors, and the Spurs were 4th on that list. But everything Sam laid out is true. He plugs the ultimate hole, and you've heard me beat the drum about them needing a power forward.
Yes.
And even De'Aaron Fox, it sounds like, according to Sam, that De'Aaron Fox could still be a part of the team, which, like, at that point just gives them even more depth. And I mean, they already made it. They already beat the Thunder. I know Jalen Williams was there, but they already got to an NBA Finals. Like LeBron going to the Eastern Conference finalist, Cleveland Cavaliers are the Western Conference champion, and the San Antonio Spurs sound like 2 better options than joining old Steph Curry and not a great roster in Golden State.
One-name teams here, LeBron and Wemby leading the Spurs. Okay, all right, I guess it could happen. The Spurs were super young, youngest team to reach the NBA Finals since the merger. And you saw that inexperience play out, and I actually predicted the inexperience would play out with John and Noah. I sat up on a desk, I wasn't sitting on a couch, and I said Knicks in 5 because of the inexperience the Spurs had, and I was right. And now everybody's calling me Nostradamus. Okay, I nailed that. Right. The Spurs gonna go back to the drawing board, try to figure it out, try to win their first title since 2014, among the favorites to get back to the finals next season. All right, Sam Quinn sold me on LeBron to the Spurs. He's not gonna sell me on LeBron to the Heat. Coming up, the Miami Heat outlook. That's next after their trade for Giannis.
You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, nobody's seen that coming. Y'all gonna make me. Who's the gangster now? Family does not leave family behind. Y'all gonna make me happy.
You are a stone-cold killer.
1, 2, hit me outside.
I want success. Get it for me.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
We don't break ourselves in half to give you a better life.
Rip and Beth have secrets. People with secrets can be useful.
We need to be careful with this family.
Find out what they know, or it gets more complicated.
Family, that's the only thing worth fighting for.
If either one of you want to walk, I won't hold it against you.
We'll be right next to you.
I've been so many places. Life comes at you fast, whether you're ready for it or not. Everything has to come to an end. I'm singing this song to you.
My center, my soul is gone.
The worry is what you do next.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
She's gonna blow!
All episodes of Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, are now streaming.
The situation's about to come to a head.
How do you know?
Because I'm about to take it there.
Every time you take a breath, you owe me.
I want success. Get that for me.
Well, God, you got anything else?
Landman, all episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
We already saw the biggest move of the summer go down last week. Giannis taking his talents to South Beach. The Bucks trading franchise icon Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis to the Heat for a package that included Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and 3 first-round picks. So, look, the Heat want to get back in contention. Back here with John Gonzalo, Noah Buono, Sam Quinn alongside. Aside from getting LeBron, John, how can the Heat bolster their roster following the addition of Giannis?
Yeah, they're thin at guards, right? They need playmaking, they need shot making, they need floor spacing. I mean, so you're looking at a projected starting lineup. They re-signed Andrew Wiggins, so they've got Giannis and Bam.
And they got Tim Hardaway Jr.
Good frontline defense. They re-signed Wiggins. They get Tim Hardaway Jr. But your starters would be Giannis, Bam, Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, and then question mark, because you're not going to start Tim Hardaway. And then that bench is super thin because you got rid of Tyler Hero. You got rid of Khalil Ware. You got rid of Jaime Jaquez, who was a 6th Man of the Year candidate. So what I'm looking at is if they don't bring back Norm Powell as a free agent, there's a whole bunch of guards on that discard pile, right? Kobe White, take him off the board. He's already re-signed with Charlotte. But Colin Sexton's out there. Can I interest you in an Anthony Simons, a Keon Ellis, a DeAnthony Melton? Maybe these aren't super sexy names, but that's the kind of player that you're going to be looking at if you strike out on LeBron James, because yes, it's great to get the top line talent in Giannis. If you can get a player of his caliber, you absolutely want to do that. But by the betting odds, you're looking at Oklahoma City and the Spurs first, then on that next line, the Celtics and the Knicks, and then you've got the Raptors, the Pistons, the Nuggets, the Cavs, all with better odds, and then you get to the Heat, who are sort of lumped in with the Wolves in terms of their chances to win an NBA championship. So Pat Riley, he took that big swing, loves to do it, but he's got work to do.
I don't think the Heat are far off. Excuse me, I think a guy like Anthony Simons would change the dynamic of their offense drastically. He shot over 40% from three multiple times in his career. After Damian Lillard departed from the Trailblazers, he averaged over 20 points per game. Like, he's a microwave guy, and honestly, he was great for the Celtics off the bench. I actually think the Celtics really missed Anthony Simons to go out and get Nikola Vucevic, who proved to be unplayable come postseason time. So I would say Anthony Simons would be top of the line, top of the list. Keon Ellis would be another one, because you could get Keon Ellis for a much cheaper deal, like less than $5 million annually. And then Anthony Simons, I don't know how much of the mid-level exception they're going to have left. He's a guy you maybe look at if you have the full $15 million, that you give that all to him. He's coming off making $20 million a year, and I still think his value is high. I think he has a lot to give as a young player that would come into this Heat team and instantly change where the direction that their offense can go behind Giannis, behind Bam.
All right, we got a pretty funny YouTube comment I want to share with you. Someone posted, Pat Riley don't want LeBron. He eats all the chocolate chip cookies. I mean, this is really well done. And if you're not familiar with the whole cookie gate, Pat Riley banned chocolate chip cookies on the team plane during LeBron's first go-round there in Miami. And we had fun with it. We said cookies on a plane, reheated. That was our movie poster that we had, that we built. If I'm Pat Riley, I'm letting LeBron eat all the chocolate chip cookies he wants, because 90s reference, he's all that in a bag of chips.
Great reference by you. Love the cookies on a plane reheated.
There it is.
I think if you're Pat Riley and you're looking at this roster and you're going, man, we really need to pad it out, because it's pretty thin after our top-line talent of Giannis and Bam. Even though we brought back Wiggins, even though they go out and sign a Tim Hardaway, they have a lot of work to do. If you could get LeBron James for whatever you got to pay LeBron James for him to go there, throw in the cookies.
Well, you keep saying they got a lot of work to do. Why do they have so much work to do? They just got Giannis. They did the hard part.
Listen,
like, I mean, you got Giannis, you got two other guys off your bench. You just signed Hardaway. You got Bobby Portis. What are they going to do with Jovic? But, like, they got 7-8 guys that you can throw out there with Giannis and Bam. I don't know if they...
It's great to have Giannis and Bam. Who's dribbling the ball? Who's shooting the ball? Who's spacing the floor? Yeah, you've got Tim Hardaway as one shooter. Davion Mitchell, I love Davion Mitchell. Is Davion Mitchell your answer to, hey, let's have him with the ball in his hand? They need shooting.
But that doesn't mean they have a lot of work to do.
Shot creation,
like,
yeah.
Guys,
they do. They're still behind.
Giannis.
There's a reason why they're still behind the Celtics and the Knicks in the Eastern Conference, and they're light years behind Oklahoma City and the Spurs in the Western Conference. Yes, Giannis is great. How'd that work out in Milwaukee after the championship? They got work to do.
Sam, how much work do the Heat have to do here?
I think a pretty substantial amount. So that mid-level exception that Noah mentioned, they used a part of it to sign Tim Hardaway Jr. The issue isn't how much of the mid-level they have left, it's how much hard cap room they have left. Right now, it's around $11 million, but they have 3 roster spots that they have to fill. You put in 2 veteran minimum guys, and suddenly you're running out of money there. I love the idea of an Anthony Simons fit. His entire career, the only problem was doesn't really play defense. You stick him with Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bam Adebayo, you can cover for him on that end of the floor. I just don't think the Heat right now have enough money to do that. The way the Heat are operating, what I've noticed in the structure of their contracts, it doesn't seem like they are all in on winning the title this year. It seems like they are prioritizing having a long-term window. So what do I mean by that? Andrew Wiggins had a $30 million player option. They re-signed him to a 3-year, $64 million deal. What they could have done to save more money this year would have had him opt out of that option, re-sign, and spread that money evenly over the 3 years. What they did instead, he picks up the option at $30 million, only going to make $16 million next year, $17 million the year after. They signed Tim Hardaway for 1 year. It seems like they're trying to preserve some flexibility for the 2027 offseason and beyond. We've talked about about a bunch of players who are free agents now, I want to bring up 2 players who are currently on other teams. The first one is Duncan Robinson, obviously an old friend, currently plays for the Pistons. His deal is partially guaranteed. If the Pistons are going to create a lot of money to do something, we haven't mentioned them for LeBron. Maybe that's something that they would consider, whether they're going to try to go add another high-level score some other way. They could waive that non-guaranteed, partially guaranteed contract of Duncan Robinson. The Heat could try to bring him back as a three-point shooter. The wildly ambitious option, what's going on with Zach LaVine in Sacramento? Picks up his $49 million player option. I don't think the Kings are focused on winning right now after making the number 7 overall pick for Darius Acuff. Could there be a buyout there? We haven't had any reporting on that yet, but it does make sense because the Kings are over the luxury tax for one of the worst rosters in the NBA. I would imagine that they want to save some money. You know, the Heat don't have that much to offer Zach LaVine. Usually the way you structure a buyout is that the player gives back whatever they're going to get with the new team. If the Heat only have $5 million or so to offer, not as enticing to Sacramento, maybe Zach LaVine would look at getting to a team like Miami that has a chance to win a championship as enticing enough to leave a little bit of money on the table. We'll see. We've linked him to Detroit in the past as well. I don't necessarily think we have to limit our thinking here to players who are free agents today on June 30th. There might be a different group of free agents on July 4th, July 5th, July 6th. Let's see how the next few days play out, because the Heat are going to be one of the most appealing destinations possible for guys who get onto the market late. There's not as much money available. Where can you go to raise your value for next year, compete for a championship here and now?
Sam Quinn here with us on CBS Sports HQ. Hey, Noah, perhaps Pat Riley can just pay LeBron in chocolate chip cookies. Don't have to worry about the money.
How many cookies do you think it would take? Would it take like an annual, like a daily output?
It would take palletfuls. A pallet full of chocolate chip cookies.
I don't know if his body and his endurance would keep up if he was running on.
If he retires after the season, cookies and a vino pair well.
They do.
So he can enjoy that. Great. By the way, thank you for the comment on YouTube. Thank you for those watching on YouTube joining in on the conversation. Always like to have fun here on CBS Sports HQ as you take a look at the potential starting lineup for the Miami Heat. Davion Mitchell, Nikola Jovic, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, Bam Adebayo on the bench, Bobby Portis, Simone Fontecchio, Pella Larson, Drew Smith. They'd love to have LeBron in that starting lineup, but we will have to wait and see because LeBron says he is going to be patient and deliberate about his next decision. Coming up, what's he going to do? What choice will he make? You choose, LeBron. Where are you going to go? We're going to continue the conversation on his destinations. That's next on CBS Sports HQ.